Welcome back to another episode of Paddle Talk. On today's show, we have a very big interview with Joe Gorney after his accident at Shelton's Dirt Drags. We also talked to Blake Cole and Shawn Roth very shortly. We have recaps from Outlaw Sand Drag Series in Silverback Off-Road Speedway. We also recap Albany Sand Drag's latest races. We recap the weekend at Tri-County Four-Wheelers after they had some difficulties. We preview the Pro Truck Nationals race happening pretty soon, tomorrow and Saturday. We also preview the Mud Racers Association race happening next weekend at Thunder in the Pits in Burwell, Nebraska. And then we will also preview this weekend's coming big money bracket race at Franklin County Four-Wheelers. And then we will end the show with our takes and debate about the staging duel happened at Silverback Off-Road Speedway this past weekend for the Outlaw race. And just like that, this episode is brought to you by Racing in the Dirt and High Gear Transmission.
Hey everyone, this week's podcast sponsored by Racing in the Dirt. Located in Cleveland, Wisconsin, Racing in the Dirt is ready to put their over 30 years worth of off-road experience to work for you. From turnkey builds to rolling chassis to an awesome selection of parts, the Racing in the Dirt staff has got you covered. Brake kits, aluminum hub kits, enclosed chain drives and kits, dry shaft loops, and even DIY wheelie bar kits, all available. So let Scott, Shane, and the crew at Racing in the Dirt get you the competitive edge you need. Give them a call at area code 920-693-2000. That's area code 920-693-2000. Or find them on Facebook or even racinginthedirt.com. That's racinginthedirt.com. And the UPS Daily.
All right, so right now it's just me, Isaac, Damian, John Sorg, and Kyle Wiedemeyer. And it's the day after the Outlaw race at Silverback Off-Road Speedway. And we'll start with John. John, you're still there at the track, man. How'd the race go?
It's still going. I got Blake Cole riding by me now. They're all playing around on the track out here with the kids and stuff and enjoying themselves and having some fun after the race.
Well, how'd the race go for you?
You know, it went good. I took second on Friday night, and I went 2 or 3 rounds Saturday in the bracket and another 4 rounds in the Outlaw Index. So I had a good weekend.
Well, good. Sound like a good weekend. We'll kick it over to the guy who beat you in the final on Friday night, K-Dub. K-Dub, how did the weekend go from your perspective?
God, he didn't tell me he was there.
Hey,
so much redemption.
K-Dub, who you sitting with also?
We got Volkswagen legend Shawn Roth right here. And then Banshee legend Stephanie Roth right there. And then Cam and then Audrina right there, who are sitting by the campfire. Hopefully the reception holds out pretty good. But yeah, the weekend went pretty good.
So how'd you feel after beating John on Friday night? That had to feel pretty good, right?
Oh, I felt pretty good. I cut an 0-2 on him. And then I thought it was going to red light, but I went green. I'm like, holy crap. And then got the win light. It was pretty awesome. It's hard to beat John. John wins almost everything.
That was a good race, man.
True. That is true. So no success for you on Saturday then?
I went 3 rounds in both classes I was in, but I got took out. So I was having a little more trouble Saturday, but all in all, pretty good.
Well, good deal. Good deal. Still sound like you had a good weekend. Congratulations on your first place. We'll get to those results in just a second. Damian, tell us about the weekend and kind of summarize it for us.
Everything went well. Jeep ran decent. It loaded itself on the trailer. Those are the main things. Didn't have too much luck. Friday night went out second round in both classes, 002 and 008 red. So at least I was trying. And then on Saturday, Portanga's daughter ended up getting me in the bracket class or in the index class first round. She just ran closer to her number. Identical reaction on the tree. Not much you can do when the Jeep won't run the number that fast. And then second round in the bracket got beat by 1,000.
1,000?
1,000.
By who? K-Dub?
Nope. I can't remember the guy's name. younger kid driving the old
Oh,
black
Keaton Hendricks.
transplant.
Keaton Hendricks.
Transplant by Gray.
Yeah.
Okay.
Third
Little
generation
small-
driver right there.
Little small, wore out small walk with a little bit of spray to run in the 430 area. So
Well, cool.
it
Well,
loaded itself. We made it home with no blown tires on the trailer, so I'd say that it was a success, even though I didn't come home with anything extra.
well, there you go. Well, besides yourself, Damian, how'd the weekend go?
Oh, overall weekend went great for the track. The track, a lot of people said it was too heavy. Friday night, a lot of the King of the Outlaw cars really had trouble getting any kind of bite in the track.
Yeah, with all the rain they had during the week, they had inches and inches of rain. The track was underwater. They did a lot of work this week to make sure that we could race, and you could tell. I mean, they pumped a ton of water out.
Oh yeah, they did all that work so you guys can play on it right now too. So that's good.
Right.
You
So
know?
it made the race surface tricky for everybody. Everybody was kind of struggling with it, but at the same time, everybody had the same struggle. So we are all in the same boat.
Well, it's just some noticeable stuff that I seen from the live feeds that Damian was giving us. So thank you for that, Damian. The live feeds that are on World Sanddrag News videos are still up. Just real quick from what I noticed. Kyle Farwick was on a goddamn pass in that second round.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He was on a pass in that second round.
He let off a good 80 feet and still went on 90 on a 95 at 15 mile an hour slower than his normal pass.
Yeah, he ran 290 on a 295 index with letting off, Damian said, about 80 feet, which is insanely fast.
Yeah.
And then another thing that I noticed was Portanga's got that Alder figured out now, don't they?
Yes.
Porting.
They had that running pretty damn good.
They really do. First time out with that combo. Apparently, from what I've been told, that is a lot of old Farwick's top end, the blower and whatnot. And unfortunately, going into the lanes on that final round, it had no oil pressure.
Oh,
so
no
hopefully
oil
it ain't hurt too bad.
Oh, I hope not. That sounds like.
But with the size
issue.
of the field, they had to make a lot of passes. There were 19 cars in the field, so obviously
21.
they had
There's 21 cars.
21.
Or 21. 21. Okay, my bad
21.
on that. But 21 cars, so they had a lot of cars trying to race into the 16, basically. So the first round, they had a bunch of bye runs that just people sat back at the trailer waiting for the 16 car round.
Yeah. I like how they kind of do that. This narrows such a big field down to the faster field of 16. So there's really no bye runs or anything after the first round. So I like that a lot. Wonder where they got that idea. But I'm just kidding. K-Dub, Mr. Wiedmeyer, tell us a little bit more about what you noticed from the weekend pertaining to the 295 index class, and then just any other cars that you seen that caught your eye.
I was looking at this purple Volkswagen Potter motor and just popping and banging, and then Fireball shooting up. I uploaded to you guys' Dropbox, piloted by this guy right here, Shawn Roth. The car looked pretty nasty, and he did a couple massive wheelies going to the right or left. I can't remember which way, and then looked like a lot of fun. Speaking about Ryan Porting, that was awesome getting into the finals. He told me before he even launched, he saw I said 0 oil pressure, but he still wanted to make the pass and try to win. So good on him.
Good on him.
Nice.
Hey, since you brought up Shawn Roth real quick, put the camera on him real quick, and we're gonna ask him a few questions. Oh, you look a little stuck for a second, real quick. As soon as I said something about showing the camera,
What did you run?
his screen is frozen. KW, your screen is frozen. I don't know what happened.
Signal gave up on him.
It must have. It went strong. As soon as I said something about put Shawn on the screen,
I bet you Shawn cut it off. I bet you Shawn cut
it off. I think you're right.
He hates being on camera. I'm like, hey, Shawn, we're going to do a garage video. No, man, I don't want to go on camera.
Okay, he's back now.
There he is.
I'm back. I walked a little closer to the Wi-Fi in the building. But yeah, there was a ton of 295 cars there. I mean, it was just crazy. All the Outlaw guys coming up. And then what else? It was just a good race overall. Silverback did a good job keeping the track dry, and it was a good time.
Definitely. Rick Ensing finally getting some semi-straight passes. He never really made a full pass, and it still was running 305.
Oh, we posted that Facebook reel, the video that John took, and man, that thing got a ton of
blew up, didn't
reaction. It did a little bit, and got some little critics on there about why why he didn't make such a good pass. But it was that thing is rowdy. I like it. I'm all here for it though. Like the screw blown Hemi, I'm always here for it. So he's gonna get that thing figured out. Is he trying to run 295 with that thing? Because there's no way he's going to keep that thing slowed down unless he just keeps doing what he's doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the ultimate goal. I mean, for right now is 295, but in the long run, he wants to go after the altered record.
Wow. That would be.
From what I hear, the plan is to go out to California and run in the pro mod class out there.
Well, he'd fit in. He would fit right in for sure. Let's get into these results real quick here. Friday night. I don't have the kids' results yet. I'll get those to you guys later on in this episode.
Hey, just real quick update on these juniors winners. We got first place Gage Sackstetter, second place Isabel Pornoyer in the juniors class, and then Pee Wee's first place Talon Knoll, and then second place we unfortunately don't know who that is, but we'll find that out and get that to you shortly. And also, mistakes do happen. We forgot to add in the 295 index class talk, so I'm going to do that for you guys right here, right now. The 295 index class at the Outlaw Sand Drag Series race in Silverback at Silverback Off-Road Speedway in Mears, Michigan was a big turnout, 21 cars. And it's really awesome to see that. They had a $3,200 pot with $2,200 of it going to first, $1,000 second. They had a ton of upsets happen as well. We'll start with the upset talk. Kyle Farwick losing in the second round by breakout after lifting. He lifted 80 foot before the finish line, runs a 290 on a 295. Man, that car was on a pass too. Matthew Wilson getting the win over Farwick on that one. I do not know who got the win over Rowe in the third round whenever Rowe broke out, but Adam Rowe, just much like everybody else. I thought this about Adam Rowe. He was my favorite to win the class. I think everybody else thought that too, except for the other 20 competitors. But if you're on the outside looking in, you definitely thought Adam Rowe was going to be the top contender in that class. So seeing him go out as early as he did was crazy. But the biggest upset of the weekend, when Kathy Ellington lined up against the number one qualifier, Doug Vinlett, and treated him and ended up moving on to the semifinals because of that. And Doug Vinlett, your number one qualifier, driving the mean one, and Kathy just cut a light on them. They were struggling to get out of the 320s all weekend, and just in that race right there, came away with a better light and just got the big win over Doug Vinlett to take them into the semifinals. But let's get into these results. First place out of the 21-car field for Top Eliminator, 295 Index, King of the Outlaw. First place, Kody Trice, taking home $2,200. He also had some new tires to go with that too, so that's awesome. Those new tires are definitely helping out. They got the win over Ryan Portinga. Ryan Portinga finally getting that car figured out, that small block blower altered. They take home $1,000 and get second place of that 21-car field. I want to give a huge shout out to Trice Racing. Kody, Dave, Glenna, you guys are killing it, and you're absolutely doing it your own way, and it's really awesome seeing that, the way you guys just put it together and get it done. That's 2 big wins this year already, so I'm really happy for you guys. Congratulations, and looking forward to more what Trice Racing has coming out this season, and really nice to see that you guys get the win. You guys definitely deserve your flowers. Congratulations to Trice Racing on a great weekend.
First place on the Outlaw bracket on Friday night. We had first place, our very own Kyle Wiedmeyer. Congratulations, Kyle. He dethrones John Sorg, who's also part of the panel. And Kato, you say you had 002 light on Johnny in that race.
Yeah, kid.
Yes,
it was
he
real
did.
close.
Yes, he did.
What were the times? What did you guys run compared to your dial-ins?
Johnny was dead on his dial. He ran like an 80 on a 79 dial, and then I was a little bit off. I think I burped it just a hair, and then Johnny, I think, was the 070, 060 on the tree. So it was close.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Wow, dude. So it was one on the reaction time. Dang.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I got schooled.
You
I got
schooled.
schooled.
Hey, it happens to you, you know.
It's gonna happen back to me next time. I guarantee it.
Well, then let's
I'll give
move
it my
on to
best shot.
our 4-0 index. The 4-0 index that happened on Friday night as well. Rebecca Boy showing up in her first of 2 final rounds. She got first place, defeating Anthony Ball, which was kind of funny seeing Anthony in the 4-0 index after watching him race at Shelton's. Damian,
I know, right?
what's
Well,
going
when
on?
you go from when you have a 3,000-pound truck and you go from clay to sand, it makes a huge difference.
How much of a difference did it really make for him? So how much was he really like pedaling it in the 4-0?
He wasn't. He ran the occasional 398, and that was the best he'd get all weekend.
Wow. That's huge difference. That's wild. Speaking of cars that were struggling to run the number, I seen the Ellingtons couldn't get out of the 320s for the longest.
Oh yeah, the track was giving everyone fits, especially the cars that didn't have quite the horsepower to get the wheel speed that they really, needed. A lot of cars Friday night, Andrew Myers, Ellingtons, Gums, all right at the hit, they would just light the tires up and couldn't get moving the first 60 feet.
Well, not saying Ellington can't run the number because we've definitely seen him have.
Oh,
it's just
yeah, it
very
definitely
much
can.
more challenging at Silverback than it is most other places.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sand is a really tricky surface. It leans into the fact that some tracks are a lot better for most cars. Thunder Valley, Brookville, Shelton's, out in California where you have more
Right.
of a clay base. It really leans into helping cars get to them ETs. Whereas the sand, it's soft all the way through. You have to get moving, and then you have to stay on top and not pick up so much material that you lose mile an hour.
Yep, and that is all correct. That is all correct. 350 index results. I believe this is also on Friday night, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And first place, and this guy's a killer in this 350 index. Terry Wise.
Yeah.
Does it again. And second place, Austin Bullock. In the we did single turbo or twin turbo there?
Single turbo 4.8 LS.
All right. And then moving on to Saturday, like I said, we'll have the kids' results later on in this episode. First place in your open bracket on Saturday. First place, Timmy Estridge. Second place, Jared Welke. And then our Outlaw Index, which is this is 450 and faster, dial into the 10th, correct?
Yep, staggered Pro Tree.
Staggered Pro Tree. First place, Blake Cole. Where's Blake at, John? Is he close enough to get a word from him?
No, he drove by, but I can go drive over to him.
Go drive over to him while we finish up these results, and we'll mob him with the interview here in a second.
All right, I'm gonna drive over there.
All right, mute your mic while you do that, and then turn it back on when you get over there. And then let's do this. So yeah, Outlaw Index. First place is Blake Cole. And then second place in Outlaw Index, podium for the second time. And she's actually the only racer from this weekend to get on the podium twice, which is very hard to do on an Outlaw weekend. Rebecca Boyce getting second place in the Outlaw Index.
Oh, yeah, she's been – the start of this year, they put that motor in Nathan Sneed's Jeep, and it's been a struggle up until this point. But that Jeep was originally built to run in Michigan. That's Freddie Hugo's old Jeep. And wheels up all weekend, 4.0, 4.0, 398, 4.0, 4.0, 399, 4.0, 4.0, 4.0, 4.0, 4.0. And Rebecca, anywhere she goes, is a killer on the treat. It's just taking some time to get used to what that car's doing.
Yeah, that she is definitely a driver. I've seen her win in that the older car. She had the black one, and then this one she always does fine in. K-Dub, can you get back over to Shawn Roth and we can ask him a few questions while you're right next
Sean,
to him?
get over here.
There you go. That's even easier.
All right. We got Sean trying to get a sneak peek of the episode. Yeah. This guy's a big Paddle Talk fan right here.
Big fan.
Yes.
Big
yes. Fan. Well, as a huge fan, we appreciate you surprisingly joining us this episode. Sean, real quick for the people, tell us what you and your wife, Stephanie, got your most famously acclaimed vehicles at the most part right now. The buggy and her bike. Tell us a little bit about what you guys got.
Well, her bike, it's been around for a long time, and this is the third different motor combination that's been in it. We're downsizing the motor a little bit, try to get it do more bracket racing with it, because she might have something new coming out here towards the end of the season, and just to get that run a bracket class with that, and just something she can play with and have, be a little easier and stuff. And the buggy, it's constant struggle.
You can't just say something new's coming out and just gloss over like it's nothing.
You gotta stay tuned.
Yeah, you might have to stay tuned. I don't know.
All right, fine. We'll stay tuned. We'll stay tuned for that. Sorg, hang tight real quick. And then tell us about your buggy. The buggy.
The buggy is a constant struggle. It 2 weeks thrashing on it before trying to come out for these two races here at Silverback, and there's a couple things that may get overlooked, and you're trying to rush through things. And we had some battery issues, some starter issues, some wiring issues, but it all came around, and we made 3 pretty good passes yesterday with it. We just got to work on some chassis tuning to getting it to go straight, and I think we'll be right there. It's got plenty of power.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, we are looking forward to great things from you in that car. That thing is a legend, and as K-Dub says, you are a legend yourself, and we are very much looking forward to you and your wife continuing racing this season and the updates that we received from that. And thank you for joining us. Just a brief moment on Paddle Talk.
Thank you.
And then now with John Sorg right now, our Outlaw Index winner, Blake Cole. First of all, Blake, congratulations. How you feeling after a big win at the Outlaw race in Silverback?
Feeling pretty good. I didn't have nothing handed to me. Definitely had to run I feel like most of the best in the country.
Definitely.
John Sorg and Matt Peel had to run. Both very great competitors. So thought I got the victory for once.
Well, you're racing against Rebecca Boyce, and you're racing against Rebecca when you get to the finals. And you know how good of a racer she is. Does that kind of throw you off going into that race, going against Rebecca, or what's the focus kind of step up a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, she's a great racer. We race a bunch. I have a lot of respect for Rebecca. I just kept doing the same routine, same focus, and just, being consistent on a tree and consistent on the track.
Tell us about the vehicle that you race. Tell us about the Alder.
It's a naturally aspirated 403 cubic inch small block built by Bischoff Engine Service.
And then can you tell us about your truck as well, the Trump truck?
The Trump truck has a 463 cubic inch NA motor, small block, built by Bischoff Engine Service as well.
Cool. Well, hey, Blake, congratulations on your win. Anybody got a question for Blake real quick? Damian, Isaac? None? Okay.
I just thought of it. I do know that he's staying the week and trying to run pro truck next weekend with the truck, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So you can fix this.
Go ahead. No. What were you saying, Blake? Go ahead. My bad.
Well, with the hospitality we have around here at Silverback, they're actually helpful. We had broke the front gear out of it, and they know we're on vacation, so they're going to take us in and take the truck down to the shop, have them fix it on the front end, and then get it back hopefully Thursday and be able to race Friday and Saturday.
Who's fixing it for you?
Silverback Off-Road.
Oh, okay.
John probably has more details on who actually will be working on it.
John, who's working on it?
Not really. There's a guy at the shop there that does all their stuff. He's going to be working on it for them, so that'll be nice for them. They can take vacation and not have to worry about wrenching on the front end.
John, you got any questions for Blake about how he did this weekend?
Yeah, how'd you cut a 005, man? I'm trying to learn that.
Or a blind squirrel finds a nut eventually.
He found a nut, that's for damn sure.
Hey, who's that young man standing right behind Blake there with the blonde hair? Who was that?
We got his son.
His son?
His name?
Zane.
Zane.
Hey, show him what I
Who are you? Emma.
Hey, show him what
Oh, yeah, he wants to show off the ride there.
Yeah,
Or
right.
that
John
one.
just wants to show his mom's car off.
Did I get that in there? Oh yeah, shout out.
Oh yeah, that Geo's
There you
awesome.
go. Shout out all the Geo Tracker lovers.
That thing's probably spent more time at the track than most other people on the panel.
I think so. You know, it's got 101,000 on it. I think about 100 of them were set at the track.
Ain't nothing wrong with an old Geo.
Not at all. It's been a great little ride.
Hey everyone, this week's podcast sponsored by Racing in the Dirt. Located in Cleveland, Wisconsin, Racing in the Dirt is ready to put their over 30 years worth of off-road experience to work for you. From turnkey builds to rolling chassis to an awesome selection of parts, the Racing in the Dirt staff has got you covered. Brake kits, aluminum hub kits, enclosed chain drives and kits, dry shaft loops, and even DIY wheelie bar kits, all available. So let Scott, Shane, and the crew at Racing in the Dirt get you the competitive edge you need. Give them a call at area code 920-693-2000. That's area code 920-693-2000. Or find them on Facebook or even racinginthedirt.com. That's racinginthedirt.com and the UPS Daily.
All right, we're going to do a recap of the weekend at Tri-County Four-Wheelers, located in Lisbon, Ohio. They scheduled a big money bracket race for this weekend, and they had some rain forecasted in the weather, and there was so much rain forecasted they decided to cancel at first, and then they still had people there just waiting to see, because people showed up early for the big money bracket race, and they were waiting to see if the rain was going to come or not. And then it turns out no rain came at all. So Saturday they ended up running a test and tune and just a bracket race. And then they woke up on Sunday, suffered some light issues after we talked to some sources and confirmed that they had some light issues, and they had to cancel their bracket race that was scheduled for Sunday as well. So really
rough weekend.
yeah.
Yeah.
Those
That
happen
seems to be
sometimes
the
in fan drags, though.
about to say
Yeah.
that seems to be the theme for the start of this year: timing systems.
Yeah, so I was talking to the guys there, and then Christopher's letting me know it sounds like it might have been a similar issue that happened to Franklin County Four-Wheelers. Porta tree system, getting it updated, so you know it's not a brand new timing system, but some upgrades, some updates, and all of a sudden the dang thing doesn't want to work. Might be something within the update, some compatibility issue. Needless to say, they had to cancel their Sunday racing for that, and that definitely sucks. I did hear that they are planning on rescheduling the big money bracket portion of that. So keep an eye out, guys. We will let you guys know when we hear about a possible reschedule for that later this year. And hopefully it'll be a date where more people can kind of show up for that. You know, that was kind of one of our criticisms. And, you know, we know sometimes scheduling can be pretty difficult in the sand drag world. But that's one thing the World Sand Drag News tries to be really good about. We try to be a good resource with our calendar. So if you don't see your races on our calendar on worldsandragnews.com, hit us up and we'll get them up on there. That's a great resource that you can kind of check and see what's going on, both in your area and potentially, you know, a little bit further out.
I will say, I do know the feeling of working your ass off to do what you can to try to make sure the show happens, and then it doesn't. And then you still get a bunch of shit for it not happening. It's like a damn if you do, damn if you don't kind of thing. So I don't know. It's just.
Yeah. And
It's
that one
rough.
thing I will
It's
say,
rough, but you gotta people just gotta remember, like, it's hard on those track staff whenever you go on Facebook and complain about stuff, and knowing that you don't know, maybe some people don't know exactly what's going on from their point of view, but there's still track staff who are like busting their ass to make sure that everything they can do, that race happens. And unfortunately, in this scenario, it couldn't work out. So, but I did hear on Monday, they got the day after they had issues, they got in touch with Portatree, and they are, they're in contact with Portatree and they're working to fix the issue. So that's good. And hopefully everything gets resolved and they can get back racing, whether it be like dirty sensors or, which I don't know about that, but dirty sensors or just whatever the case may be, an update in the system. Just, I don't know. We don't use Portatrees at Thunder Valley, so I don't really know how all those problem solving scenarios work. So
yeah, I think the thing to keep in mind is that any of these tracks, they're not going into a weekend expecting to have those kind of issues. And when you're kind of in the middle of running your program, you got to do the best you can. And it sounds like they tried to go through and put together, something to make up for the weekend. And it just didn't work out this time. So, they already know that there's issues. And I'm sure the racers that were there saw them scratching their heads and trying to fix stuff and get them back and going. Didn't work out. Hopefully they get everything fixed. And, to your point, Billy, it sucks when you put out all of that effort. This is a club that has been there racing for many, many, many years, and this was their attempt to kind of do something different. Didn't work out this time. Doesn't mean that they should throw their hands up and not try anything different. I think that that's something that we do want to see more tracks do, right? We want to see tracks not just be complacent. You have to go and try to innovate, try to figure out some new things, and sometimes those things are going to work, sometimes they won't, but you got to try something.
you always got to keep trying, and because if you don't keep trying, you never know what's going to work or not. So, but Tri-County's going to get figured out. They're going to reschedule that big money bracket race, and hopefully nothing but good things happen over there, and they hopefully move forward and get better from it. Albany Sand Drags had their second race weekend, because they do 2 races in a weekend. They'll do a race on Saturday and a race on Sunday. But they had their second race this weekend. We apologize that we missed results and stuff from the first one. But here, what we have, they raced twice.
Yeah.
Like I said, Saturday and Sunday. And they just run the same classes both days.
So they run sport and pro categories, and then what they typically do is they will run either the car categories or the motorcycle categories first, and then the second day they will flip the program to give the opportunity to the other racers to have a little bit different track, different time of racing.
Well, these aren't motorcycles. These are bikes. It says sport bike. These aren't motorcycles.
I'm using West Coast California terms here, Billy.
Absolutely not. You four-wheeled motorcycle fanatics over there. So anyway,
To be fair, most of them are ATVs. I don't even know if they have any trikes or dirt bikes or anything racing. So
I don't even. They have really fast mini bikes, apparently.
yeah, they do.
So Youth 1, which there's Youth 1 and Youth 2, and I asked Brenton Whitney what the difference was. And he basically said one's older kids and one younger kids. I didn't know. He didn't know the age cutoff, which is fine. So
yeah.
So in Youth 1, we'll do this. Since they had 2 races already, we'll just go over the recent ones, because I feel like it'd take too long to do the other ones.
Okay.
So on June 29th, which is Saturday, first place in Youth 1 was Memphis Powell. Second place was Bryce Seaver. I think Bryce was racing the mini bike. So that's awesome. And then Bryce turned around the next day and got first place and beat Memphis in the finals. But Memphis still has a pretty commanding lead in points. She's 28 points ahead of second place.
Yeah. Looks like Bryce didn't make it out to the first event. So even with that 1-2 finish, still pretty far behind in the points there. We'll see if he can't make it up tail end of the season.
Yes. Damian and Kody, I just sent that what we're looking at to the group chat so y'all can see it too.
Youth
Okay.
2. So Billy, did they say which youth class was the older kids?
No.
I'm gonna just go on.
I'm gonna put it on
and say that probably youth 1 is the older kids, and youth 2 is the youngest. We may
I don't know.
have to correct ourselves on that. That's
don't know. I'm
generally.
sorry.
I mean, like you got your faster classes are usually pro or sport 1, and then you go 2 for the lowest. But
Right.
for youth 2,
yeah.
first place goes to on the round 3. This was on Saturday again. Tyler Bone. Second place going to Kelsey Brobst. And then on round 4, which was their Sunday, Cash Cutler getting first place and Tyler Bone getting second place there. So Tyler in second place in the points. Again, Tyler not making that first 2 rounds back in May. Cash Cutler.
Yeah, because Cash is killing them in points right now.
Killing it on the points.
But that's okay. They got time.
Got time.
So I talked to Brent Whitney again, and he said the time difference between the Sport 1 and Sport 2 for the bikes is I hate looking stuff up while I'm on here. 419.
419. Okay, shoot. It was close to what I thought. I thought they were a 399 split. But yeah, that's a pretty quick split
fast.
there.
That's a fast split.
They have a lot of fast
God.
bikes there. They've got
Dude,
a lot of fast bikes in Oregon.
Yeah, look at that. That's crazy.
I mean, we've got Sport Bike 1 there. We've got 22 on record. Now, granted, not everybody's there every single race, but you got 22 bikes that are quicker than a 419.
In the points, yeah, that's insane. And
So
you got
want to get the results there, or
well, how many of them? Well, you got 13 of them at least that made every race, so it's competitive. This is tight.
yeah.
This is a tight field here. Here, yeah, we'll search through it real quick. You search for Sunday. I'll search for Saturdays.
Okay.
So it looks like first place. I'm not surprised. First place on Saturday, June 29th, was Andy Seaver.
Yeah, Andy.
And then second place was Carter Christofferson. I said his name right. So that's awesome. I like seeing that from those guys.
What I like is that come Sunday for round 4 of their point series, we got completely different winners for the first time here. First place, Corey Rodvik, and second place going to Cameron Spittle. So another group of locals there getting first and second. Just trying to see if I could even find where the rest of them ended up. I mean, even Andy didn't place even into the semis there. So a lot of competition.
These points right here, it's just first place. I mean, first of all, shout out to Carter Christofferson for being first place in points. The young guns out front just by 3 points. And then, well, shoot, the guy in fifth place is just 10 points behind him. Mm-hmm. It's a close race. Damian knows about being close point battles, right? And he's in one right now.
Yep.
So then we go to Sport Bike 2, excuse me. And this is 420 and slower, which is still, you got 9 of them in the points, but that's still pretty good. And then first place in round 3, which is on Saturday, June 29th, was Callista Summerlin. taking the first place win. And then your second place winner was Stephen Miller. Shout out to Stephen.
And then we're looking at round 4 on Sunday, June 30th. Got first place going to Tyler Vancycle. Vancycle? I hope it's Vancycle. That's a freaking cool. That's a cool last name, regardless.
Yeah.
And Stephen Miller getting the other runner-up there, getting second place. Stephen Miller, also your points leader.
Yes.
Going into round 5.
He's not too far off. I mean, he's got a good lead, but no, he's got 14-point lead on second place with J.R. Elam. So
definitely vulnerable.
Yes. Sport car won. And then the split for the cars is 475. Excuse me. It's 475. So sport car one is 475 and faster. And how many they got in points here? They got
a lot.
That's a pretty good amount. I'd be happy to have that.
27 in the points there. And again, we've got, a good 15, 16 of them that have made every race.
Yeah, for sure. It looks good right there. First place on Saturday, round 3, was Tom Grote.
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah. He drives the black dragster, right?
Yeah, Flatline Racing.
Yeah. Shout out to Tom. And then second place for round 3 was Dan Beck. Dan Beck got second place on Saturday.
And then over on Sunday, some familiar names here. First place going to Cam McAllister. I don't know if he was running the Jeep or the dragster for Sport Car 1, though.
I seen pictures from Dave Burns of the Jeep.
Jeep? Okay.
It may have been the Jeep. But I did see a video of the dragster, too, so I have no idea.
Yeah, and he may be running some in the Pro, some in the Sport. But, Cam, great-looking cars. He's got that Rat Business Sorg Design Company, so they always look pretty, and they go pretty fast. He's a record holder with our sport mod classes.
Yes, fast.
Second place going to Chris Wells. Chris, we see him a lot in here in California.
That's my dog.
Arizona.
Shout out to Chris.
Mr. Pro Gambler himself. But first place in the points in Sport Car 1, Cam McAllister. And the guy you were talking to, Brenton Whitney, currently sitting in second place. Chris Wells 1 point behind him there, sitting in third. So tight point battle there for Sport Car 1 as well.
Very much so. And then look at this. Sport Car 2, they got 19 in the points. That's pretty good. Albany's not talked about enough. That's crazy. That's pretty damn good turnout, especially for points. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they got a good amount of them that's made both races. But anyway, first place for round 3 on Saturday, Michelle Hill. And then second place, we have Roy Chody. One of those. Roy. Roy Cho. That's what we'll say. Roy Chody. I don't know. Roy C. Good job,
and then
Roy.
on Sunday for round 4, Michelle also taken first. So she's got the double up perfect there.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
Michelle's a freaking killer.
No, she's a beast, man. I mean, she goes rounds. When they come down to Avenal, too, she's definitely a killer. She will be in late rounds there for the Pro Gambler.
All right. If I ever go to Albany, I'm taking the mini bike and I'm calling out Michelle Hill and whatever she's racing. And we're gonna test her skill with this thing right here.
Well, you're gonna have to get past her competitors, including Cameron Taylor taking second place in round 4 there. Michelle Hill, a commanding lead in the points right now over second place, Bobby Miller. She is 40 points ahead in the point series there. So
safely crushing.
Yeah.
And then we move on to Pro Bike 1, where they have 21 in the points. And about 12 of them make all the races. So that's good. First place on Saturday for round 3. Oh, I gotta do some searching here. Give me a second. was Wyatt Templeton. First place on Saturday. And then second place on Saturday for round 3 in Pro Bike 1. We have Eric Wells. Shout out to Eric.
Right on. Going over to round 4 on Sunday, June 30th. First place going to Aaron Utzi. And second place is going to Steve Seaver.
Ooh.
Another Seaver Racing entry there. There's a lot of tough bracket racers up in Albany. I will say that for sure.
We'll test their skill with a mini bike. Pro Bike 2. We have
did we figure out what the split was here, Billy?
It's the same.
Same split. Okay, so we're 419 and quicker, 420 and slower.
For both, yeah. Yep. I think
just
so.
pro light versus a sport light.
That's how I believe it. Or that's how I take it. And that's how he sent it to me. So
yep.
That's how I believe it. I sounded weird when I said that. All right. So Pro Bike 2, first place on Saturday, Stephen Miller. And then second place was Carson Kody.
And then first place on Sunday for round 4, Stephen Miller getting that double up. So him and Michelle Hill both taking first across both days.
Yeah.
Second place going to J.R. Elam, who is also sitting third place in the points. Callista Summerlin sitting in first place in the points.
Stephen Miller needed that for sure. Pro Car 1, 475 and faster. First place.
32 cars are in the point series for this.
Oh, dude, there is. That's crazy. 32 cars in the points. That is a lot of cars, especially these days. So first place on Saturday. Look at that. Tom Grote getting the win in Pro Car on Saturday. And then on second place in Pro Car 1, Adam Hill. Adam Hill. Got that. He commented on my Facebook post
getting the hills there in the winner's circle quite a bit there.
Yeah.
Husband and wife team there. First place in round 4 on Sunday, we got Scotty Barris.
Got it.
And second place going to Jason Mueller, who is also second place in the points. Scotty is first. So there you go. Got your 1-2 for round 4, as well as the point standings.
Yeah. And then Pro Car 2 on Saturday, round 3, first place, Shane Wallen. And in second place, our girl, Michelle Hill, getting it done once again. She's still making the podium.
Yes, sir. Then on Sunday, round 4, first place going to Ed Miller, and Michelle taking another podium there. Second place in Pro Car 2. So she's got 2 first places in the sport class and then 2 second places in the pro class.
And then she has another commanding points lead. Once again, she's just an all-around killer. And we'll go back through here real quick and just name the points leader in each class. Youth 1 points leader, Memphis Powell. Youth 2 points leader, Cash Cutler. Sport Bike 1 points leader, Carter Christofferson. Sport Bike 2 points leader, Stephen Miller. Sport Car 1 points leader, Cam McAllister. Sport Car 2 points leader, Michelle Hill. Pro Bike 1 points leader, Cooper Alexander. Pro Bike 2 points leader, Callista Summerlin. Pro Car 1 points leader, Scotty Burris. Pro Car 2 points leader, Michelle Hill. And that is your Albany Sand Drags recap.
Hey everyone, this week's podcast sponsored by Racing in the Dirt. Located in Cleveland, Wisconsin, Racing in the Dirt is ready to put their over 30 years worth of off-road experience to work for you. From turnkey builds to rolling chassis to an awesome selection of parts, the Racing in the Dirt staff has got you covered. Brake kits, aluminum hub kits, enclosed chain drives and kits, drive shaft loops, and even DIY wheelie bar kits, all available. So let Scott, Shane, and the crew at Racing in the Dirt get you the competitive edge you need. Give them a call at area code 920-693-2000. That's area code 920-693-2000. Or find them on Facebook or even racinginthedirt.com. That's racinginthedirt.com and the UPS Daily.
Welcome back. We are with a very, very, very special guest. One of our boys, my man, Joe Gorney, suffered an accident at Shelton's Dirt Drags. He well-known top preliminary racer in the Outlaw series, Ohio, Indiana, Michigan area. Hoping to see him in Missouri sometime as well. But Joe, we'll just start off. Go ahead and introduce yourself for everybody.
All right. I'm Joe Gorney. I drive the Pure Punishment top preliminary sand drag car. Like Billy was saying, I just had a pretty good wreck there at Shelton's. Been racing for about 19 years. I think this is my 10th year in the sand. So
10 years racing in sand drags.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And where are you from? Where are you from, Joe? Where you live at?
I'm in Union, Ohio, just north of Dayton.
Okay.
North of Dayton. Before we go any further, we are also joined by Damian Bowers and Dave Applegate helping us out with this interview here. And Joe, let's kind of talk about this little piece that's right behind me here, how I ended up getting it here. You suffered that accident at Shelton's Dirt Drags. If you haven't seen it, here it is. Tell us, like, well, first of all, how you doing now?
I'm doing good. I taking it day by day. Had a little issue with like memory and vertigo, but it's getting better day by day, man. So just little by little.
For sure. And we are glad that you're doing much better now. And that was a little bit of a scary moment there. And man, that is just nuts what happened to you. And it happened so fast. And you said, we spoke on the phone earlier, that you guys actually found out what actually caused it. And there's been a lot of talk about it was this, it was that. And I actually thought, and I'll admit it right now, that I thought you lined up in a bad spot. And it turns out that I'm probably wrong. So why don't you tell us what you guys discovered?
Yeah, absolutely. So I remember everything up until the front wheel ripped off. But where I lined up was actually not really good. I lined up right in the ruts, and it should have gone right over it, no problem. But after I got back from the hospital that night, I went in the trailer, I was looking the car over, and I noticed one of the 4-link bars was bent. And I brought that up to Tom, and Tom had told me it must have been from where the guardrail had landed on the guardrail. Got it back to the house, got it out of the trailer, started taking it apart. Kept watching that video you posted, and frame by frame, if you really slow it down, you can actually see that it lost all preload, and that the car started going right, and that's probably like right when I started letting out of it, where it did let out of it, and suspension unloaded, and from there momentum took over, so on and so forth. But we did have a failure on a 4-link, and that's essentially what caused all of this.
And as you said yourself, that's pretty rare for a 4-link to have to fail like that.
Yeah, it hooked so hard because it came out of the hole quick, and it was just too much for it, and it failed.
Well, we are glad that your safety gear did its job, and that you are A-okay, and that you're able to race another day.
Absolutely.
and something I pointed out from the very beginning, that chassis held up very well. Very, very well.
Yeah, we already got it on the table and everything, and it's not bent or anything. So it's amazing how much stuff didn't get ruined by that wreck. Like the zoomies weren't even touched somehow. It ripped the hat off.
Right.
That is what it is. But yeah, the frame's not bent. Everything else held up just fine.
Yeah, it's crazy how the zoomies just weren't touched.
Yeah.
That's very rare in a rollover.
Lucked out.
Right. I won't spend too much more time on this, but does Damian or Dave, you got any questions from the accident?
Yeah, sure. If you don't mind, that's good. I got to start off with, I'm going to call it the hook. There's a track down here in South Carolina, Blacktop, they kind of call it, the House of Hook. Well, Joe, you know which one I'm talking about. I can tell you this, for the tracks that I've been to on dirt and sand, and not as many as a lot of people have, but Shelton's is definitely the House of Hook.
Absolutely.
And when Joe said that thing took out of there, it does. I noticed it on my side-by-side, how much that thing hooks. It's amazing. And not, maybe Joe, maybe you weren't expecting it to hook that hard, you know what I mean? And whatnot, but it is what it is. We're glad you're still here with us. That's for damn sure. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 questions, and that's it. We'll move it on to Damian. Quickest ET in the dirt since you started, what'd you say, 10 years ago now? What's your quickest ET?
311.
311. Well, I got a feeling that that night or that day, if that wouldn't have happened, you would have outdone 311.
Very much so.
For sure.
I 100%
Very much so.
agree.
Yeah.
You would have been down in the twos. There's no doubt about it. Secondly, moving on, I'm just going to throw this out here. One of the things that us guys talked about later that evening, and it was a concern that we had, and maybe you and Tom have talked about this, was the cage itself seems awful wide for you. Is it something that you guys have talked about? We see funny cars and top fuelers and whatnot. Now they're putting padding inside the cage to kind of help that. Want to throw that out there. You don't have to get detail if you don't want, but is that something that you guys are considering, either narrowing the cage or putting some padding in?
So we originally built that car and that cage that wide to have padding in there. We just never got to it. We just never did it. The car, it's always behaved well. I mean, it's just stuff that you wish you could go back and do, because I probably wouldn't have got knocked out. But definitely it will have padding in it in the future.
Well, good. And then how we all learn. I mean, let's take a trip back a couple weeks ago. Mr. John Force, he had all that padding. It still knocked his brains loose. So I heard he's doing well and he's doing better, but it can happen even with the padding. But wanted to mention that and ask you about that. The third one is the safety itself. I mean, Tom, not only Tom, but other chassis builders, and the people we buy our safety equipment from. We just proved with your accident and others that the safety works. And I personally feel, we don't need to get into this tonight, but I personally feel, because we've had this conversation before, I personally feel promoters, track owners, racers, we really need to start looking at safety more. We really do. I mean, that's just my opinion. But on your real quick thing of safety, you see anything else other than the padding? Is there anything safety-wise that you see, not only in full size, but whether it be a side-by-side or four-wheeler or dirt bike, that you think that maybe we should all do better at?
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, anything with nitrous, I think the driver should at least have a fire suit. It's kind of crazy to me. I mean, I've seen a bunch of nitrous backfires, racing, and the guys in there just, with like a helmet and, a t-shirt. And it's like, wow. I think with certain speeds or times, you definitely need to step up like the safety equipment, like a Hans device. Stops your neck from snapping forward in front collision. I think that's what saved me my first wreck there in Brookville. But I think the faster you get or lower ET you get, the more you need to step the equipment up more.
And we all agree with that. And again, we've had this conversation before, and I know of some people that are working on that. I know I'm looking into it on my series as well. And then I've got 2 questions that are one. Is there any sponsors that you have or shout outs that you want to give out real quick, and then we'll move on to Damian and he can get into the old school stuff with you.
I have no sponsors, believe it or not. I'm completely self-funded, and I want to give a shout out to Shelton's, EMTs, everybody that was there that night that not only helped me and Tom, but like took care of my car. I mean, it was so nice and relieving just to get back and know it was already loaded. It's just all we did was strap it down on the trailer and got it back, you know. So I just want to give a shout out to everybody, especially to like James and everybody.
Well, that's good. And I tell
Big
you,
shout
obviously it's a family sport. And Damian and Billy, I may say this wrong. Zora, right? Zora Peters, is that right?
Yep.
Zora was there, and I think she's working on being a nurse. Is that correct, Damian? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And she took control right away. Like I say, a big applause for her. She done excellent right there with you. I don't know if you remember her being there by your side. She never left you until the ambulance got there. So that's all the stuff I had for you, Joe. I'm glad you're here. I appreciate you coming on with us. Damian, I'm sure has got some questions for you, and definitely looking forward to see you back out in the sport. And if you don't have your car done, man, go to one of these tracks, support them, and hang out with the guys. We'd greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Hold on. Before we get to Damian and his old school stuff, Joe, tell us about Tom.
Oh,
yeah, good one. Good one. Yeah.
Yeah, Tom. So Tom's a big mud racer from the 80s and 90s, ran the NMRO circuit with a car called Intruder. Many variations of that car.
If y'all don't know, if it's y'all mud racing guys, we're talking about Tom Marsh. Like
And
that dude.
Put the clip of Bayou George right here where he wheelies it out the end of the pit.
Send me it, and I'll try to. We'll put it in because that is an awesome clip. So yeah, Damian, if I stole your question here, I'm sorry, but how did you get linked up with Tom?
So funny story. Actually, I got linked up with Tom through my mom. My mom and Tom started dating.
Oh.
And I was big into the diesel scene at that point in time on asphalt. He had knew that, but we had hung out just a few times. He came and watched me race, and then after one of the races out there at Killcare, he asked me how serious I was about it, and if I'd be willing to maybe drive his car, or at least help him get back into the racing world. So we put together the Instant T again, the one that you drove, Billy. We put that together, went to a mud race over 2013 July Indy Jamboree. He ran there, and then the rest is history. I started driving at Glass Blast in 2013.
That car was a lot of fun.
Point.
What'd you say, Damian?
A lot calmer ride that day than it became.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that car I drove the Instant T, right? And it's called, what is it called now?
Oh, it's back to Instant T. It was
back
pure
to
punishment.
Instant T?
It is, yeah. It's got the body on it too.
Oh my God. That's awesome. Can't wait to see that. But yeah, when I drove it, it was pure punishment, and ran my fastest pass ever in sand drags with it, 3:35, and I lifted. But yeah, I was it was, man, and I appreciate you guys for giving me that opportunity also, because being able to feel that was awesome. 98 mile an hour still, so it was
Absolutely.
awesome.
Yep.
But Damian, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Well, first thing ain't really much of a history one. It's more of a, what kind of changes are you looking at making into the car other than just safety equipment? Are there any kind of chassis configuration changes you guys are looking at doing?
Yeah, we're gonna move the motor, obviously. So we're gonna try to take some bite away from it, because obviously it's got plenty with the bigger diggers and stuff like that. It's it's something we had talked about prior. Again, just kind of ran out of time when to make the races for the year, so we just kept it. And most situation, like every other situation I've ever been in, I've always had an opportunity or at least a chance to drive out of it, something. But
yeah,
as you saw,
Shelton's was just so abrupt.
Shelton's was so quick, and like I said, by the time I even let out, I was already starting to flip over. So
Now, what a lot of people don't realize, and we talked about this earlier, Tom has rolled over in 9 different states when it comes to mud racing. In all honesty, if there was a person to build a car that's going to survive a crash like that, it's Tom. I jokingly say he's wrecked in every fairground, stadium, and speedway from here to Florida.
Yeah, no doubt.
And you guys he had started building that car in the mid 2000s after a crash in, I believe, Wisconsin.
2006. Yep.
And that's where really his mud racing career ended, wasn't it?
Yeah. After that wreck up there in Green Bay, Wisconsin, he got pretty messed up. He lost his eyesight in one eye, broke his sternum, all kinds of stuff.
So yeah, that car, it's one of the heavier ones in the top eliminator class, but for good reason, because it was meant to be a mud rail. And
yes.
To go as fast as it's going, it's really impressive to see.
Yeah, definitely. I was lucky to squeeze a 122 mile an hour pass up there at Gravel Rama last year. So
yeah,
that was pedaling.
Wild to see.
Yeah, that was a
322 mile an hour.
That's the picture behind Dave there. That was 122 miles an hour.
That's
if
crazy.
If you go back to one of my live streams from Gravel Rama, you can see him almost run down Craig Gum, pedaling it at 60 feet.
If I remember correctly, I lost to Craig by 15 10,000ths on that pass.
Wow.
It was close.
It's wild when you see a car fly by at over 100 with the front tires at eye level.
So, Joe, what racetracks have you raced at? Can you name them all?
Yeah.
And which one's your favorite after you name them all?
All right. So definitely Cleves, Brookville, West Michigan, Shelton's. Honestly, that's it for Sand Drag World.
No, you went to Newtown.
Went to Newtown. Yeah, that's right. Only went out there once. Man, that was a beautiful track.
That was awesome.
But I'd say my favorite out of all of them is probably West Michigan. I mean, it hooks. It's air. You know, the air up there is really nice. It's always like really nice, cool weather. The track hooks real hard. It's always a good time up there.
Yeah, I like the track. And it's just a beautiful place to go to as well.
Absolutely.
Is there a racetrack that you want to go to? You looking forward to go to?
Oh, I have a handful. So I'm trying to get out there to Missouri, man. I've been trying to make that trip for 3 years now, and I'm not going to make it again. But I'd say like one of my dream tracks to go out to Yuma.
Yeah.
So because that's where everybody seems to be setting this. Yeah, Dome Valley.
And just so you'll know, when he says Missouri, he means Thunder Valley.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only option really left out there for 300 foot.
Shut up, Damian. Well, Joe, I really appreciate your time joining us on the show, and we hope your recovery is still going well and that you crush it. And you are planning on being in the driver's seat at Gravel Rama. Is that right?
That's right, man. That should be my first race back. So
you're driving the Instant T.
Driving the Instant T.
You and Tom sharing some seat time.
Yep, we sure will be.
That's awesome. Can't wait to see that. And I might make it there. I don't know yet. But Damian, I know for sure will be there. And you'll be there as well. So, well, Joe, thank you once again for joining us, man. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Hey everyone, this week's podcast sponsored by Racing in the Dirt. Located in Cleveland, Wisconsin, Racing in the Dirt is ready to put their over 30 years worth of off-road experience to work for you. From turnkey builds to rolling chassis to an awesome selection of parts, the Racing in the Dirt staff has got you covered. Brake kits, aluminum hub kits, enclosed chain drives and kits, drive shaft loops, and even DIY wheelie bar kits, all available. So let Scott, Shane, and the crew at Racing in the Dirt get you the competitive edge you need. Give them a call at area code 920-693-2000. That's area code 920-693-2000. Or find them on Facebook or even racinginthedirt.com. That's racinginthedirt.com and the UPS Daily. Hey everyone, this Pro Truck Nationals preview brought to you by Joe Tony's High Gear Transmission, located in Conklin, Michigan. At High Gear Transmission, we work to be your one-stop driveline shop. From automatic and manual transmission work to transfer case and differential work, along with engine upgrades and repairs, we can do it all. From daily driver and mild builds all the way up to heavy duty and high performance, High Gear Transmission keeps you moving forward. So give them a shout at 616-887-4327, connect with them on Facebook, or stop by the shop in Conklin. That's 616-887-4327 for Joe Tony's High Gear Transmission.
All right, coming up this coming weekend, July 5th and 6th at Silverback Off-Road Speedway. We're going to let Isaac take it away here. The Pro Truck Nationals Race 1. I believe you guys are doing a series this year, right, Isaac?
That's right. We're doing 2 dates. It'll be July 5 and 6, followed up by September 6 and 7 will be the finale. So coming up this weekend, July 5, Friday night, you're going to have 350 class. You're going to have an open bracket class, Pro Truck Elite, which is the big Friday night class as far as door-to-door, heads up, quickest 8 trucks on the property. And we'll have, I believe they're going to run round 1 of 295 qualifying on Friday night.
Just one round on the 295 for Friday night?
Yep, on Friday night. Yep, I believe they're shooting for that thing to be last thing on the track as of Friday night. But
let's dig down deep here into the Pro Truck Elite stuff real quick, because that happens on Friday night also, right?
That is right. Pro Truck Elite going off on Friday night. Pretty simple. You make one or more if you need it. Test hits during the test and tune, which costs you $40. Bring your time slip to the tower. Fastest 8 trucks of the day are gonna run off for chance at $1,000, and it pays back 4 places. So literally, you get through one round, you're up $200 at that point. So it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, because
I believe.
My bad.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say there's no entry fee for the Pro Truck Elite, right?
That is right, but you have to have a time slip from test and tune, basically more or less as a qualifier, but it doesn't mean anything. There's going to be chip draw for round 1, and that's what we're going to use to set the ladder. So it is really wide open. You know, you don't know who you're going to get first round. Just because you and your buddy both run 340s doesn't mean you're going to have each other first round. You know, it's not laddered out by time or anything else. It's a full random chip draw right off the bat for first round. So just a little hiccup in there to kind of change things up, get people involved, and really do something different.
Let's pass this over to Damian. Damian, there's a couple trucks that you're kind of looking forward to in this Pro Truck Elite class real quick.
One I'm really hoping to see. I've heard they've got the motor in it. They were supposedly trying to get it ready for the Outlaws race, but weren't able to get it ready. Is Earl Lettner, his blown big block Chevrolet S10. Supposedly he's got a new bigger cubic inch engine than he's ever had in that truck. So looking forward to seeing what that's going to run.
And that thing can run a number before, right? Isaac?
Oh, yeah. He's been into the 330s and 320s down this way. Up there, probably 330s was the best I think he ran up in Michigan, ain't it?
Yeah, I would say for sure. And that's pretty good, seeing as that truck broke the crankshaft earlier this year.
Last year it broke it. It broke it at the Outlaws race last year. It actually broke the snout off, or broke it where it bent the snout up, and the pulley got grooves in it from the fuel pump on the front of the motor.
So Jason Benson pretty much confirmed at this point. I have 100% confirmed Jason Vanderwall is coming. They made some hits with that truck and have it really dialed in. Made some hits up at the Northern Power Race Park race a couple weekends ago, and they are ready to rock. Todd Bilesma is supposed to be coming for Friday night as well. Talked to a couple guys this week, and they said they were coming up specifically to see that truck and help with that truck on Friday night. So that's looking good. Yeah, so Gary Golombisky rumored to also be there if they can get the front end on that thing. So, I mean, That's what we're at 4 or 5 trucks that are all 320, 330, 340 ish, right there. Not counting, somebody like a Dave Kramer that I would think would probably be there almost for sure. You've got Rich Simon will be there with his Jeep, plus anybody else we don't know about at this point.
Like hopefully we can see Nick Swagger get his old red Bronco back out. There's another one that
absolutely
be in the ballpark.
That's a truck that should be there. Absolutely, you're not wrong there. Pete Rockwell as well. Actually, they had come and they were going to run Pro Truck Elite last fall, and they broke the rear end. I think second or third pass out, but they actually had a time slip that would have got them in the program that night. But with the busted rear end, didn't go. I tell you what, a guy to keep an eye on. I believe he's going to be there. I don't 100% know because I haven't gotten a response from him yet. Scott Vogel with that twin turbo Colorado. That's a one. So Scott Vogel, another name that could surface on that list. Twin turbo Colorado. I believe that truck has been as quick as a 342 already. Had some tuning issues last year on Friday night, so didn't get down the track. But another guy not far from the track could be there this Friday night. Haven't gotten confirmation that they're going to be yet, but truck to look out for as well.
Oh, definitely.
Pro Truck Elite looking stacked. And this is so exciting for that because is this first or second time the classes ran, I believe, right?
Second time this class is ran, and want to give a shout out Joe Tony and High Gear Transmission sponsoring our coverage of Pro Truck Elite this Friday night.
Well, shout out to High Gear Transmissions. You can definitely get hooked up with all your transmission needs from those guys. And I just want to give a shout out to Rich Simon. He started all this Pro Truck National stuff, did he not?
That is true. And if everything goes right, we're going to try to get an interview for WSDN TV this weekend with Rich. May sit down and get 5-10 minutes with him and just kind of go back to where it all started and where we've gotten to now.
And I'll also say this, Rich, come on the pod. That's it. Just come on the pod. Let's move into where the Pro Truck Nationals class actually started. The Pro Truck class, the original, the Mac Daddy, the thing that the class that started it all. Isaac, I think you already did again, but go ahead and just tell us kind of the rules for this class and give us a quick preview of what you're looking for from the original Pro Truck class.
Absolutely. So Pro Truck, the original Pro Truck, goes off on Saturday along with all your regular Silverback off-road speedway classes. Kids and juniors start. I believe they're going to start at 8 or 9, and then adult time trials will happen right after. But Pro Truck, the regular, if you will, Pro Truck class will go off that day. Looking for big things. We've got a lot of hungry guys there. You've got Blake Cole, last year's champ, coming back to defend. You have Brian Jones, also former champ, looking to come back and defend. You've got guys like, I'll say Dave Kramer, Tom Hartman, both looking, let's face it, both those guys have raced for a long time. A Pro Truck Series championship would really do a lot for their, I guess you'd almost call it legacy at this point. So you got guys like that. Corey Myers, who put up a bunch of 4.0s this past weekend at the Outlaw race, is another guy that knows how to get it done. Even though he's quite a bit younger than the other two guys, knows how to get it done in Pro Truck. You got Jay Portinga, whether Jay's running or Matt Peel's running that Jeep, went to the semis last fall. Lydia Portinga, Ryan's daughter, was your number one qualifier at the last Pro Truck race. So she obviously knows what she's doing in that Jeep. It's going to be a stacked field. I look for some really, really good racing. Pro Truck is dialed to the 10th off your fastest time of the day. You must qualify 4:49 or quicker, and 4:40 and quicker is the index. So it goes down by a tenth. So 4:40, 4:30, 4:20, 4:10, 4:0 into the threes.
You brought up that
And
somebody was the number one qualifier at your guys' last race you did for it. Tell us how the qualifying order is made and how it differs from basically any other class in the country.
Sure. So Pro Truck, one of the wrinkles is qualifying is not the fastest competitor. It is all on reaction time. Last fall, like I said, your number one qualifier was Lydia Portinga, but your top, I believe it was 4 or 5 qualifiers were all 050 or better. And remember, this is staggered pro tree. This is not a sportsman tree, staggered pro tree. And I believe it was, top like 5, I think. You'd be 050 or better. Top half of the field, you would be 085 or better to get in the top half of the field.
Wow.
So out of 16 trucks.
And that's really tough to do when you're making that.
So it's a lot
field
as far as
reaction time.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. And remember, regular Pro Truck, unlike Pro Truck Elite have to have hood and fenders, no center seaters, that sort of thing. Pro Truck open to all that kind of stuff. Still need a hood. We'd prefer to see some fenders, but a hood and a grill at minimum. But willing to work around, if guys just don't have it, or something like that. Ryan Wilson. But anyway, yeah. So
I can think of one worse.
We try to accommodate. We try to accommodate where we can. So.
No, I can think of one worse than Ryan Rodney Upchurch back in the day at Grayson.
Yeah, I'm not going down the road of that night again. So that was.
Well, you said the Pro Truck class rather than the Pro Truck Elite. Pro Truck is more open to the single seaters, and you even see some Bud Jeep bodied Aldards in this class too, right? Isaac and Damian, whoever wants.
Oh
to take
yeah,
it.
It's like Jones and definitely one of your former champions. We had in the first season that they traveled, Casey Kellogg's T-Bucket was a contender for the points championship.
Oh, yeah. Casey led the points, I believe, for a little bit. I mean, Lee Reinder's former champ, that Jeep was a center seater, even though it was a full body, type Jeep, that also was a center seater. But yeah, a lot of stuff that gets, that definitely can make something happen. Somebody we haven't talked about, Brian McQuethy and his yellow Jeep always goes rounds in Pro Truck. So it's going to be a great class. If you enjoy bracket racing and you like seeing full bodied stuff, Friday and Saturday, Silverback Off-Road Raceway, going to be a great show this weekend. Weather's looking good too.
Well, that's good. Good weather at that stand track definitely helps. But I'm excited for this Pro Truck race for you guys. I really wish I could make it, but the holiday weekend and stuff. I'm stuck down here in Kansas, but I wish I could make a trip up to Michigan, maybe next year. So real quick, before our last thing we're going to do pertaining to the Pro Truck stuff, we're going to do something we haven't done in the last, probably a handful of episodes here. We're going to do race picks, and we're going to do one class at a time. We're going to start with our Pro Truck Elite class here, and if somebody takes your pick, you have to choose somebody different. So we'll go with I'll start with Isaac. Who do you think is going to win Pro Truck Elite?
That's tough. Just only because being one of the guys involved in the administration of Pro Truck, I don't want to seem like I'm picking a favorite or anything else.
Okay,
this
fine.
is
All right,
purely
since you said that, you don't get allowed to make a pick anymore. Since you're too close involved, you're gonna alter the outcome now. So no. All right. Okay. For Isaac, tell me somebody that you would like to see do well. Not necessarily win, but somebody you would like to see do well.
You know what? I don't want to put any undue pressure on him or anything else, but I would like to see Jason Vanderwall do well. And here's why. Those guys have put in a bunch of work into that program. He wants to be better than he has been, and he has told me so. And he's really invested into our sport in the last couple of years with that truck, and with even sponsoring, a race here in West Michigan 2 years ago down at Ottawa County and stuff. So it would be good to see that team do well. They put in the work, whether they win or just go a couple of rounds. I think it would be a major step for them, and happy to see it. And, that truck is 4-wheel drive. It would be really interesting to see that truck maybe show it up in an MRA race someplace.
You never know.
It's definitely crazy how many of the PTN Elite trucks are still 4-wheel drive.
Absolutely.
Cut out all this dead air. Sorry.
You're all right.
Sorry about that. Damian. Now, tell me who you think is going to probably win that Pro Truck Elite class.
If he makes it there, I'm going to have to put my money on Earl Lettner. Doesn't get much more elite than one of the originals from when that class was, again, a quick 8. That class has grown a lot since then, and it evolved into the index class, and then back into Pro Truck Elite now with this quick 8. And back then, Earl Lettner was one of the originals. I'd be hard pressed to bet against him.
Yeah, Earl Lettner is definitely a good pick. Definitely a good pick. Kody, do you want to pick?
Well, I was gonna say, what's that? Billy, it's that green Jeep that I really liked.
Todd Bilesmo Line Time.
Is that it? And he ran the cuts.
The 309.
He runs diggers now, but yeah, he's ran cuts in the past.
Yeah, I think last time we were up there, I remember watching that Jeep and his tires would shake so real aggressive off the line, and I'm like, that thing's got a lot of power. He just needs to get a tire change in there.
Okay, so Kody, you're picking Todd Bilsma.
If he can put the power to the ground, I mean that thing's a badass.
He ran a 309 earlier this year at a test and tune, did he not?
Took our sport modified record.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
He may be the class favorite besides Earl. If Earl shows up with a new setup and Todd, they may be your top 2 favorites. Who knows? Because 309 is pretty tough to beat. But for me, Kody actually stole my pick. I didn't think he'd be that educated. So I'm gonna go on a whim here, and I'm going to say, I'm gonna say Gary Golombisky if he turns that thing up, because I seen him and he wasn't driving it, but I've seen Bert drive that truck into the 3.0s before, and it was awesome.
Newtown.
Yeah, in Newtown, it was amazing. So, if Gary's got cojones like Bert does, I think he can get it done. I think so. But let's move on to the regular pro truck class now. Our race picks for that, and we'll go. Let's go backwards this time. I'll go first now. You know what? I'll call it like it is. I'll say it right now, and I'm pretty sure he's going to race it this weekend. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to call it right now. Brian McWethy. I think Brian's going to go out there and have a good showing in the yellow Jeep. And, he's definitely won the class before. So I think he can definitely do it again. Mooch, who do you got for your pro truck class pick?
I got to go with the one local from down here I know is going to be up there. I got to go with Blake Cole.
That's he's the points winner from last season. So that's a pretty good pick right there. Not gonna. That's a damn good pick. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, that truck was running 440s all weekend long until the front spider gears gave up. Braden hopped out of that truck and jumped in Corey's to try and finish the day out and broke out, I believe.
I seen he hopped in Corey's truck. But Isaac, since you are deeply involved with PTN, you don't get to choose a winner, but who's somebody that you like to see do well?
I'm going to have 3, and just covering my bases, but they're all guys that I think are due and are set up to maybe do very well this weekend. Corey Myers and his dad, Brett, with the orange F-150. I think that truck is dialed in. And if Corey's on the tree like he is a lot of the time, I think that truck goes rounds on Saturday. Dave Kramer is another one that can go rounds again on Saturday. And Tom Hartman Sr. I mean, let's face it, man. He's due for a big.
Sr. How the hell did I forget about Tom Hartman? God, he's the GOAT.
Right? I mean, but I tell you what, that field, I can't get over how stacked the regular pro truck field is. I mean, when you consider Corey Myers, Kramer, Hartman, Brian Jones, former champ, Blake Cole, former champ, Brian McQuethy, there's 6 guys you've got to get through, and that's not even bringing up Matt Peel or any of the other truck guys that may show up.
Or even Portinga, who always does really well with the Bud Body Jeep, and Damian's got somebody.
Isn't Blake Cole a multiple-time champion at the PTN? He won this year. He won the year where Rich did the double-day race down at Grayson.
No, that was Harney.
No, Blake Cole has 2 PTN trophies. He won. I can't remember what year it is, because if you go to his Snapchat, he's still called Mr. Pro Truck on there.
I'll find this out. You guys keep debating.
All right. I don't know if he was part of that mess on Friday night at Grayson. I don't remember him being, but he might have been. Just with everything else that went on.
Because he was running a white center seat Willie's Jeep body car.
Okay. Ask Blake something for me real quick. Okay, guys, hold on a second. Ask Blake something for us real quick. We're on the pod. Ask Blake how many Pro Truck National Championships he has.
2.
What years? Does he remember what years?
The first one. 2014, 2013. 2013.
2013, and then last year?
Buddy Hammett.
Okay, when Buddy Hammett took it over.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, say that one more time. You said what years? He said 2013.
Okay, that would make sense.
2014 when Buddy Hammett brought it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then he won last year. Okay. All right. That's all we needed to know. Thank you.
Got it.
All right. Bye.
So
Blake is the only 2-time PTN champ.
That's pretty crazy, especially when you think about how much younger he is than most of the rest of the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
True.
He's younger, but he's a killer for sure.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
One more thing from quick, just 60-second bit from each of you. Damian, you go first. Something about the PTN weekend. Coming up, what are you looking for? Just like anything else before we end the segment?
Nothing more than I'm really excited about the PTN Elite class. I love that we're starting to see the door cars really, whether it be MRA Outlaw Pro Stock, PTN Elite, those are some of the most fun classes to watch because, again, short wheelbase, unruly, tons of horsepower.
Isaac.
As Damian said, PTN Elite, regular pro truck, and we get a full 295 and 350 show out of the deal too. And I know there's cars coming because they have told me so. I know of at least 3 350 cars that were not there this past weekend that'll be there on Friday night. So that that adds into a good show as well. So looking forward to it. And I get to be there. I love being at the track. I love getting to be able to call the race. That's really good. And hopefully we can get a ton of video for everybody out there this weekend too. So,
well, then be patient with our coverage from the Pro Truck race this weekend. Isaac's juggling many tasks already, so he will get what he can for us. in a timely manner. Whatever you don't see posted during the weekend, you can definitely see on WSDN TV.
I'm bringing in an administrative assistant for the weekend. By the way, Billy, I'm going to need a raise. No.
Who's your assistant? We'll give him. Shout him out. Is it nephew again?
Well, as of right now, yes, he is coming in to do some with us. Sorry, I'm checking. I literally just got a text concerning Pro Truck Elite. So
what is it? Breaking news? Breaking news? Oh, the suspense is killing me. Isaac.
He's broken up.
Oh, he's frozen again. Hold on, Isaac. Don't. Hold on. Okay, repeat it. Say it.
Apparently, a certain member of the track staff's Bronco is going to be ready for Friday night. So there we go.
Oh, I know.
Mr. Penoyer. Why did you say it? Brett? Is it Brett's Bronco? Right? He's got.
That's
Brett
what the text just told me. So.
Hey,
here we go, kids.
That thing's a beast, right?
Yes.
It
it's
is.
A 370, 360 Bronco last I've seen them.
Absolutely.
So
but I tell you what, anything can happen. Like I said, with the chip draw, who knows? Just because you're the fastest truck does not give you an automatic to the final.
No.
Right.
This is awesome, dude. And that's breaking news on the pod's always awesome.
What timing, right?
Kody, you got anything you want to say about the pro truck race coming up this weekend? Even if it's just something simple as be safe and have fun.
I remember growing up, reading about the pro truck, checking out NSDN's news and stuff about the pro truck. I think it's cool that it's kind of coming back full swing, in the modern day. Because it went away for a bit, right?
Yep, it's been back for a couple of years now, and they are taking off strong again. So
hopefully, eventually, we can see it come to more tracks.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what it can grow back into, because it did travel at one point, and hope maybe it could travel again. You never know, but times are a little tougher than they used to be. So
they are.
But we are always looking forward to a great race, especially when it's held at Silverback Off-Road Speedway, and especially when it's Pro Truck Nationals weekend. And we're going to be bringing you great content from that race, as always.
Hey everyone, this week's podcast sponsored by Racing in the Dirt. Located in Cleveland, Wisconsin, Racing in the Dirt is ready to put their over 30 years worth of off-road experience to work for you. From turnkey builds to rolling chassis to an awesome selection of parts, the Racing in the Dirt staff has got you covered. Brake kits, aluminum hub kits, enclosed chain drives and kits, dry shaft loops, and even DIY wheelie bar kits, all available. So let Scott, Shane, and the crew at Racing in the Dirt get you the competitive edge you need. Give them a call at area code 920-693-2000. That's area code 920-693-2000. Or find them on Facebook or even racinginthedirt.com. That's racinginthedirt.com. And the UPS Daily.
Coming up next weekend, July 12th and 13th, Thunder in the Pits Mud Racers Association heading to Burwell, Nebraska for what is their second race of the season. They got $250 per class for fastest combined ET and $250 per class for fastest combined reaction time. So that's really cool to see. Damian, just off rip, what do you got for us for this race with some knowledge you got?
Burwell, Nebraska, I think is relatively new on the circuit for the MRA. I believe they've ran there at least 1 or 2 years now. Again, it's a big classes. Hopefully you're going to see a lot of the same stuff you've seen out in Missouri, the Outlaw Pro Stocks, the modifieds, open class, and the like. Super stock, it may not be as big due to the long drive of some of the people coming from the East Coast, but you never know. There might be some more trucks that you don't see regularly out there because they do have a large mud bog community out that way.
I did talk to Scott some time ago whenever we started this whole partnership deal. And he said that Nebraska is probably one of their bigger races that they do every year. And I have also heard, not from Scott, but I've also heard that they get their biggest crowd turnout at Nebraska as well. So that could be cool and interesting to see as well. Isaac, what's something that you're kind of looking forward to seeing from this MRA race coming up?
Yeah, Burwell, located kind of northwest of Omaha and Kearney. And I remember being out in Omaha for a mud race a while ago, and they really packed it in there as far as people. So that would be really interesting. If that's their biggest race of the year as far as crowd goes, that would be something else, because there was a big crowd when they were in Missouri. So that would be very impressive. I think you're going to see a lot more like Texas, Oklahoma, and maybe even some upper Midwest. I'm talking like Dakotas, Montana type of trucks there. Clayton Alcott, who has, I believe it's a Colorado or an S10, is kind of one of the main guys behind this race. And he had said at one point that they have a pretty good contingent of door slammers that'll show up for this race. So I don't know how heavy the open class cars are going to be and the mod class, but I guarantee door slammer wise, they're probably going to be some pretty full classes there. So that would be very interesting to see. It's a hike from here to get there. I can't imagine like Keith Mitchell. Oh, that's got to be a tow to get to Nebraska.
God, think of Dobson and the Renegade Jeep.
Yeah, I was thinking like David French even coming out of West Virginia. That's a tour, buddy. Ooh, that is a tour to get there. So
I was originally planning on going. Work got in the way of that, and it was going. If I drove, it was 13 plus hours.
We would have made it work, and that would have been the best 13-hour drive of your life, Damian.
Yes, nothing but cornfields and cornfields and cornfields.
Exactly.
Think of the content you could have shot on the way out there.
Look at all the corn you missed out on, dude. Seriously. But it's only a 4.5-hour drive for me, so that's really convenient. So
I will be way convenient.
I will be there next weekend, July 12th and 13th, Mud Race Association race at Burwell, Nebraska. And Thunder in the Pits is what they call it. And they're, they got the added money. And
what is their combined reaction time in ET class this weekend or this coming event?
After some extensive research, we just found out that the Outlaw Pro Stock will be the combined ET and reaction time class this time. That means you have to have the quickest ET and reaction time is mixed in as well. Those two times put together, whoever has the quickest time will be the class winner. Isaac experienced that with, what class was that again? They did that with in the Cook Station.
One of the modified, I believe it was modified cuts. Gotcha. They did it with in Missouri.
All right, and then Damian, what's something Outlaw Pro Stock we should be looking out for here now?
The Outlaw Pro Stock trucks, again, these unruly machines, they tend to go where they want to go. Wheels up, on the back tires, on the wheelie bar, out to 180 feet or more. You got Kevin Harrison. You got the old Rogies. You have them working on so many different trucks there. Patriot. There's the Martinez's green and black Jeep. Then you have the, I believe the Harrisons, Isaac, out of Georgia. Or not Harrisons, but they own the old Georgia track. Have the black Jeep and
the Georges.
The Georges, okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
but
they have a whole slew of Outlaw Pro Stock and Pro Stock rides.
The Georges from Georgia.
Yes. They scary. Actually owned a track that is famous in the mud racing community from the 1980s and 1990s that actually had quite a few number of episodes, including the debut of what was modified back then, which was full body trucks with nitrous small blocks. My how that class has evolved.
Yeah.
And now it's evolved into open rails and such. But Outlaw Pro Stock, a lot of these guys, they go in, they get set and ready to go, and then they take off when they feel like it. Some guys, they go after the tree. Now they have to go after the tree. You better have your ducks in a row when you pull into them beams.
Yeah, and some of those guys will have a little bit of a leg up. The guys that run modified cuts as well were actually doing that at the Missouri race. So, also shout out to Keith Mitchell. While we were doing our research to find out what class it was, Keith did text me and let me know which class it was. So, thanks to him and the MRA staff for keeping us on the right track.
Absolutely. We cannot, it's hard to do our job without the help of the MRA. And I will be, once again, I'll be at this race in Nebraska next week in July 12th and 13th. I'm going to be looking to post some awesome Facebook reels and go live on Facebook. But more importantly, I'll be there to focus on the YouTube production video that we'll be releasing sometime later this year. And it's going to be a great time. I am a little hurt that Damian's not going to be able to make it. So Damian probably needs to find a new job. And it's going to be a great time.
I wish it was that simple, man.
Well, no, we will be there. MRA in Burwell, Nebraska for the Thunder in the Pit second race of the Mud Racers Association Series race. Joe Gorney is going to stick around with me and Damian, and we're going to talk about Franklin County four-wheelers big money race, Brookville, Indiana, happening this weekend, July 6th. And take it away, Damian. What do you guys got on the plate, and what can we expect?
Well, first things first, it's $100 entry fee, big money bracket race for this area. I know it's not that big an entry fee when you look at it from the outside drag racing world, but in the dirt, that's a pretty decent sized payout, especially if we get the normal 60, 70 cars we get here every year. The 3 years they've done this previously, you've got Jason Job won the first year, Leighton Mallow in the Desperado altered the second year, and last year Cameron Krug took the win in Zora's Jeep, and this year he's going to have his own altered there, I believe. It's a chip draw, but different than what we normally do. Normally we do the 4-lane chip draws. At this event, we go up to the driver's meeting, everyone pulls a chip, one gets one, and so on down the line. Every 8th pass they work the track, and when they draw the run order, you dial in. So if you know you're the first pair out or the 8th pair out, you can dial according to what you expect the track to be. And then also added in, they're going to have a second chance race. I don't know after which round they're going to start that, but that's a $50 entry fee for that class as well.
Question for you. Do you get to change your dial in after every pass?
Every round when you go to draw your chip, you get the option to redial. They're going to ask you what your dial in is at that point, and you're going to give them whatever you plan it to be that pass.
How does the chip pool work? Is it numbers? Is it like
just
Michigan?
Like Street Outlaws type deal?
Okay.
Big hat, reach in or a bucket. You draw chip one. You got run one. If it's got the LC, you got lane choice.
Okay. All right.
Is there any break? Is there any? Can you dial in too slow for this? Is there like a minimum?
Nope, there is no minimum. So there'll be everything from stock trucks and side by sides down to cars capable of 3.0.
I love that. I might be racing open bracket races.
Yeah, I might be racing.
Well, yeah, Joe, you can race.
Bring your your big old dually.
That's right. Eat that up. Well, that's cool. Franklin County four-wheelers, big money bracket race. And just real quick, we're gonna pick some winners. And Damian is not allowed to pick himself, even though that's what he wants to do.
It's kind of obvious. I would go with myself, or if my dad decides to run, those would be the ones I would want to win.
Oh, yeah, picking your dad's fine because that's not you.
Well, it's still kind of favoritism, and I know what he's capable of. Right now, for people that's on a roll in this area, I've got to go with Rebecca Boyce. Can never really go betting against her.
Dang, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. I think I'm just going to have to go on a win because I know he's really good, and I know he's an Indiana guy, and I hope he's still racing. Michael Robbins.
Oh, yeah, he definitely is.
Okay, cool. Okay, that's a good – okay. Michael Robbins would be my pick then. And then, Joe, who do you got?
I'm gonna go with Andrew Meyer. He's pretty good on the tree and he's pretty consistent. So
Okay, that's a sneaky pick too. Picking a faster vehicle because
Yep.
the vehicles I've wanted before, I mean, they're not even. Are they 3-second cars? Those 3 winners that you named in the past?
Leighton Mallows is a 340 cart, and it's that yellow Desperado that was at
Right.
the MRA race running in modified paddles.
Yeah, that's awesome. He was running what in 300 foot?
Modified power.
What was his ET?
300 or 200?
In 300.
300. I know that car's been in the 340s on motor, no power adders.
Okay, so it's a faster car. Okay, so
yes.
So Andrew Meyer would be if Andrew Meyer wins, he would be the second 3-second car to get a big money bracket win at Franklin County, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, I know Michael Robbins is gonna go cut some lights and get it done. So, and if not, then I am a cancer to race picks, and we will.
So if he doesn't win, he can blame you. Got it.
Yes. If Michael Robbins doesn't win, he can totally blame me. That's fine. I will take the blame for that. But I hope he wins. So, all right. Yeah. Franklin County Four-Wheelers Big Money Bracket Race, July 6th, Brookville, Indiana.
Hey everyone, this week's podcast sponsored by Racing in the Dirt. Located in Cleveland, Wisconsin, Racing in the Dirt is ready to put their over 30 years worth of off-road experience to work for you. From turnkey builds to rolling chassis to an awesome selection of parts, the Racing in the Dirt staff has got you covered. Brake kits, aluminum hub kits, enclosed chain drives and kits, dry shaft loops, and even DIY wheelie bar kits, all available. So let Scott, Shane, and the crew at Racing in the Dirt get you the competitive edge you need. Give them a call at area code 920-693-2000. That's area code 920-693-2000. Or find them on Facebook or even racinginthedirt.com. That's racinginthedirt.com and the UPS Daily.
All right, back with Damian, Isaac, and I. We're going to start the news and take segment, and we'll probably have more opinions about this later on, or you might have already heard it. The staging duel talk has become hot recently after the Outlaw race at Silverback Off-Road Speedway. There was some sort of a staging duel between 2 turbo-powered buggies. I wasn't there, but Damian was, so I'll let him take it away from there.
Well, we had the white Ghost buggy and a blue turbo LS powered buggy that neither of them wanted to stage first. And they sat there good 20, 30 seconds. The blue car went ahead and staged, started to bring it up on boost. The white buggy staged, and as we all know, the Michigan lights drop instantly. And the white Volkswagen was gone, and the blue car was just left setting there. And from multiple accounts in the return road, the guy in the blue buggy, which also ran in top eliminator. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. If I seen it on the qualifying sheet for the
with a different car or the same car?
Same car.
Okay.
It was running 330s.
Okay.
Is that Rick Ensing's old car?
I believe so. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe it was a McCall or something like that. I could be wrong. Like I said, if I have my computer up and running, I'd look at the sheet and be able to tell you the name.
Daryl Clem?
No. But in the return road area, he pulled up to the guy in the white Ghost buggy who was already stopped, flipped him off, and drove off, roosting the entire buggy.
Woo.
That's not a good way to endear yourself to your fellow racers as a new guy, even if the staging duel was a bit long.
No kidding. That's one way to get roosted for winning a race. But I mean, somebody made a post. It was K-Dub and John Sorg working together. They made a post on our World Sand Drag News page on Facebook, and it said, turbo cars. How do we feel about staging against turbo cars or something like that? And one guy had my favorite response. He said, "Nope, it's not my problem what choice of power adder they have." So I'll full agree with that. Isaac, you've been in a few staging duels, have you not? We were talking a little bit before we started recording.
I've had a few in my day. The best one I can remember was back when I had my full-size red Bronco yet. I was racing Randy Lottis out of Indiana.
I've heard that
had the
name.
white sand. Yeah, white sand station Blazer, older square body. And the part of this that's important is it was very open top, not like Hartman's that has the canvas or anything. It was wide open, and it had literally started to sprinkle as they were pulling us down into the lane, and it was full on starting to rain. And they called our pair out, and he literally dropped it in drive and just took off out of the front row and went in and double bulbed me. I mean, I wasn't even into the cones, the safety area yet, leading up to the tree, and he had both bulbs lit up. And I'm going to be perfectly honest, I burned that thing to the ground that night. I went as slow as possible. I cleaned it out before I got up to the tree. I went in, I lit the top bulb. I counted to 7.5 before I just inched forward and lit up the stage bulb. And I think he left with a 300 red light because he had to have been soaked by the time I got there. But I tell you what, I just, I'm a firm believer in doing what you do every time, especially when no matter if you're heads up racing or bracket racing, do what you do every time, and I do not let the other lane dictate what I am going to do. Let's put it that way. I'm willing to be flexible, but at the same point in time, I'm not going to alter what I do based on what they're doing. If they want to run in, especially with a lot of this fairground stuff, I bet I get double bulbed 75% of the time. And that's that's on the low end.
You go to a KOI race, it's a matter of practice. It's gonna happen.
So
absolutely.
The question we posted was, does a turbo car driver have a reason to be angry if their opponent makes them stage first in a staging duel? And there's people giving their opinions and stuff like that. And as I said, my favorite one, as I try to find it here, was whenever this guy basically said, no, their choice of power adder is not my problem.
I agree 100%.
My opinion on it, it doesn't matter where you stage with a turbo car, first, second. That's all a matter of what happens. The only issue I personally have with it is when I see someone get left hung sitting on the converter for so long because of that.
Yeah.
And why are you up on the converter so fast then?
Turbo car.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
Now, I do know of people that, and Isaac will remember this, the Wade Pruitt drives it now, the son of John Pruitt, but John's sister used to drive the family tradition Blazer. And the moment the guy's arms would be up, she'd be in the stage lights on the converter, and the other guy wouldn't even be pre-staged.
Yeah.
No. And every pass, they never had a converter issue.
Well, that's insane. But in this instance, there was definitely some disagreements. And
definitely.
I can't remember the drivers' names. But either way, it seems like the guy in the white buggy got the better of it because he got the win of the race. So there you go.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. All right. We are on the news and takes session, and you probably heard myself and Damian and Isaac talk about it already, but we're here talking about the staging duel stuff once again. And Caleb, summarize it one more time for so everybody knows what we're talking about again.
Yeah, so basically to our understanding, what happened is we had two turbo cars on the line. We had John McCall in a turbo LS powered buggy, and then Matt Compton in a Volkswagen turbo buggy. Turbo cars obviously need to get up on boost to leave. Matt Compton went in first, John McCall went in last, and didn't have enough time to build boost. Tree dropped, and McCall didn't get off the line very well, lost the round. And from what we saw from a couple eyewitness accounts is that John went and in the return lane decided that he was going to give the finger and roost Matt Compton. So that's the news. That's why we posted about what do you guys think about turbo cars staging and what the responsibility is there and everything. That's where we're at. Let's hear some takes.
And I think the first take off rip, first of all, was that it was a longer than usual staging duel, right? Damian, how long would you say the staging duel was?
That'd be hard to tell right off the top of my head.
Just take a guess.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to record that.
90 seconds longer?
No, I'd say probably a good 20, 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. So longer than that. Okay.
But still, that's fairly long in this sport.
Especially for turbo cars.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. John, what did you think about the whole thing? You were there.
Well, apparently I missed it because I'm just learning about it, but I had to join in so I could hear some more. So, yeah, I missed it. I found out after the fact.
Man. Well, yeah, it sounds like John McCall, well, he's new to the sport, right? He's new to the sport. He was, what John told me earlier, he was a sprint car guy, right?
Yeah. Yep. He did round racing for many, many years. I just didn't take him for a guy that would do that, but I mean, it is what it is. That's what was seen. That's what was seen.
Your audio is a little messed up.
I think it's still going to your headset there, John. But Damian, do you know if there was any kind of bad blood between them prior to that pass or anything, or was this just kind of spur of the moment?
Their racer, I only see the buggy guys a couple times a year. At that, occasionally that group of buggy guys will come down to Brookville. They're regulars at the Greens drag strip. And then the John McCall, obviously a new guy, so I really don't have that much information on him. I know that his buggy's got a single turbo 5.3. He was also running the same car in the top eliminator class, running in the 330 territory.
Well, we also are joined by Dave Applegate. Forgot to say that. Dave, you mentioned something about staging in scenarios like this before. What did you think about the scenario when you heard about it?
Okay, well, two things real quick. One, I don't know either of the guys, so I'm not going to choose sides, which is actually good. I think, staging duels and things like this has been in the sport since probably it began. You know what I mean? 50s, whatever. Let's face it. If you're a spectator, it's fantastic. And the ones that do it the most is NHRA Pro Stock. That's where it happens a lot. Some of the bike guys do it. I haven't seen it happen too much in dirt. Now, this is just my opinion. I don't think it's something that everybody needs to do, but there are those times where you got two guys that are really good buddies and they're trying to, dick around with each other, or you got two people that don't like each other and you'll see it. And it's usually typically how you notice it happening. In a way, it's good for the sport because it does things like we're doing now. It gets us talking about it. It gets spectators talking about it, racers talking about it. I can't say it was good for that to happen that day or not. I don't know. But when it comes to the spooling and the turbos, I think what I posted earlier, or what my comment was earlier was, especially in the side-by-side world, which is completely different than full size. We all know this, but when you got a vehicle that enters some four-wheelers that have CVTs, it makes it really tough to stage. And if it's two side-by-sides or two four-wheelers that have it, it's pretty simple. And the trucks are full size. They probably got, they got a trans brake and whatever else that they're holding it, they can bump in or whatever and make it work. And I think it also depends on how quick the light comes on after both are staged. So it becomes, in my opinion, a race to get to the light and get stage first. And then it's a race down the track when that light is so fast to come on. I think the staging duel thing is kind of cool at times. Obviously, tracks don't want to see that happen all the time because it takes too much time. But on occasion, I think it's pretty cool to see myself.
Yes.
It's a good thing for the sport, I believe. As far as the end of the track, this is my opinion. I mean, no harm. There is, and there should be a fine line to sportsmanship. And if that's what happened, I think that was, again, opinion. That might have been a bad sportsmanship move right there. So that's just my thought on it. You know, I don't know. As far as spooling it up, there was a couple guys that said, hey, if you go there and race, you should be expected to be able to get in that line. No different than when I ran John and Damian. Those guys work with me. They knew what I've got, but they didn't have to. If we would have raced, it's a race. If John or Damian would have pulled right in, it is what it is, man. I got to make it work somehow. That's part of the sport. And that's what makes it so much fun.
See, and that's the whole thing, is that somebody's going to have to pull in at some point. Like, you're not just going to sit there all day and be like, okay, well, I'll give him his time or whatever. Like, you got a turbo car versus a turbo car. You probably,
yeah.
I mean, the 8 fuel cars run into this scenario every time they race. So, I mean, you have to figure it out.
I think the biggest thing, I think the biggest thing is, if we're racing somewhere and you don't know the person you're running, you've never seen him before, or you have no idea who they are, it might be a little bit different. But if you kind of know the person you're running, they kind of know each other. They kind of know, for instance, John is a perfect example, and I'm not picking on John. John likes to go up. He stops. He hits the trans brake for a second to check everything, and he rolls up. I know that about John now since I got a chance to see him at Silverback. So I know if I ever have to run John again, that gives me time to go up and get at least pre-stage or get real close to it, let John do his thing, and then when I see him rolling, come on up. Everybody's got their own things that they do, right. And John's very, very, every single time he does the same thing. And so when you know what the guy's doing is one thing. I don't know if these two guys knew each other enough to know what's going on there. I don't know. I think being able to spool it up, it really, I mean, even when it's a CVT, you're there to race, including myself. If you ain't got your poop in a group, sorry about your luck. You better get up there. You're going to get beat.
Exactly. John, what'd you say?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I was just checking.
Oh, okay.
Go on.
But I'll say this, and it's from firsthand seeing it down here, around where I'm at. And it used to be really bad at Aspen Acres. We used to have a timing system that the moment a stage light turned on, you didn't even have to turn your the other guy could go up, double bulb you. You had 30 seconds to get in and get staged. John might remember that timing system from back in the 90s.
Vaguely.
Well, because he's old.
Around here, there's people, they have their sequence. And there's a lot of people that, and my dad has done this to a few different people, Blake Cole, Dusty Banks, whose dad, Jeff Banks, owned the speed buggy, were driving the speed buggy. They would always, and Dusty said this in staging one night, he had to stage last. So my dad likes to, if you're going to play a game every pass and you have to stage a certain way like that, where you always have to stage last, my dad's one of them people that will play your game and go up there with a full tank of gas dead cold. And this was when I was a little kid, back when our Jeep was still stock frame red. My dad went in, Dusty pre-staged, my dad pre-staged, my dad put it in neutral and just cleaned the motor out. They sat there almost a minute and a half until Jeff Banks leans over the guardrail and screams at his son to stage that damn Bronco in a lot more colorful language. My dad cuts an O light. Dusty cuts a 800 light. He did the same thing several years back to Blake Cole, and ever since then, Blake Cole He goes up there pre-stage. He sees your pre-stage. He starts rolling in.
Well, and Damian, I think that's a good way to talk about this, because there's a big difference when we're talking about interrupting somebody's whole rhythm and their staging procedure with a staging duel versus just people kind of going up there with no intention of doing that. And to me, that's kind of what it sounds like this happened. Dave, you're talking, if you race the people enough, you know what their routine is. This could probably have been avoided pretty easily with them just paying a little bit more attention to their competitors. They both, I'm pretty sure, knew that they were running turbo cars. They could have talked about it a little bit ahead of time, like, hey, I'm going to go in first, or you're going to go in first, have a little gentleman's agreement on that. If that didn't happen, they go up there and do the staging duel. Like Billy said, A fuel days, Dave, you run a lot of side-by-sides where you're both turbos with a CVT. That's double hard with that. You have to go up there and be prepared for that. I don't know if this was an instance where they were kind of running against an auto start deal, but I tend to think that wasn't the case. It's just two turbo cars going up there, both not wanting to go in first, one finally going in, the second not having enough time to spool up. That's totally fine.
Well,
that's racing. And I'm totally fine with all of that. Yeah, Damon, go ahead.
You do have that a little bit back. They sat there to the point where McCall rolled in, didn't do his normal thing where most big V8 turbo cars do now. They bring him up on the pre-stage and then bump in. He just went ahead and rolled in and then stood on his brake. And as his car's coming up, the buggy bumped in, up on boost, and was gone. The green light had already dropped on McCall, and he was still sitting there.
So part of that may have been his own screw up. I think whatever happened on the line, that's one thing. I'm going to take a little bit firmer of a stance than Dave did. I think that any kind of retaliation at the end of the track for something like that, I think that is completely uncalled for. I think it was a huge dick move, and I'll stand by that statement. I may never get to see these guys in person, but if I see them in person, I'll let them know. I think that was a dick move. I don't think that has any place in the sport. You can be upset. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have been, whether that was because he felt that Compton had kind of screwed him on that pass, or if he was just upset with himself and he felt like he screwed up his staging procedure. But
I'd sure like to know why he did that. Yeah, I'd sure like to know why exactly you would do that. I mean,
yeah,
I've never been in a battle or whatever where I went to hit some, or went to blow sand on somebody just because I was upset because I lost or cut a bad light or didn't win a staging battle. I don't go out and nail somebody. I have been nailed before and chased the guy down and made sure it didn't happen again. But
don't risk damaging someone else's equipment. We have so much money, all of us invested in what we're racing. It's wrong to really risk any kind of damage to it.
But I definitely like to know why he did it before I pass judgment. Why,
Agreed.
Well, I'll be honest, since we're all being honest here, I thought it was pretty savage to just be like, all right, it's the wrong call. I'll admit it. It was not the right thing to do. But you pull up in front of somebody and you rooster tail them. That's a pretty savage move. That's pretty savage, but it's not the right thing to do. Shame on you, John McCall. Don't do that. Don't do that again.
I think there's two things I'd like to add. Caleb's 100% correct. I call it sportsmanship. You guys are calling it just absolutely wrong, and I would agree. There is an issue with side-by-sides that I hope that others will realize. And it's somewhat even in full size. Some of your guys' converters don't come in till high RPM. And when you start to try and get it to roll, it's going to rock those tires a little bit. And my point to that is it should be pretty obvious, whether it be a side-by-side or a full size, that converter comes in or the clutch on the side-by-side comes in and you see that quick little whoop, and it throws just a little bit. It's not on purpose. You can tell when that's happening. And most people that get behind a side-by-side or a vehicle that is known to do that, they'll give themselves a little bit of room because they know, hey, this thing's probably going to shoot a little bit of dirt for a few seconds here, not intentionally. It's just trying to get it moved. My last thing that I got, though, real quick, guys, is one of the things that I've noticed at the tracks, it's been everywhere I go, and then hearing it as well, is the burn down thing, meaning going in deep stage or not, or waiting too long on the tree. We change the tree and give it a 2 seconds or whatnot instead of that instant green as soon as the next guy stages. I kind of disagree with that. And I want to bring this up, maybe just be a different topic, but it's kind of in the same line of the staging duel. Some of the people that I've heard, without mentioning any names, that say, "Oh, I don't want to go in there and sit at the tree for an extra 2 seconds or second and a half or whatever, just because we got a guy with a turbo." I disagree with that. And the reason I say that is because that same person will go up in bracket racing, not heads up, and be on that 2-step or be on the brake or, the trans brake or whatever for an extra second and a half, or so, and they don't complain. But yet when it's heads up, they don't want to work with the guys that have turbos or nothing else. And they're like, "Oh, I don't want to do that. You're going to burn down." No, you're not going to burn down. You're doing the same damn thing when you go up there at bracket racing. I don't get it. I maybe it's just a way that guys
Dave,
feel.
I agree 100% with you. I think there's a lot of people out there, and this goes across bikes, cars, side by sides. Doesn't matter. There's a lot of people that, in my opinion, get a little bit of a prima donna attitude, thinking they've got something that absolutely will not be able to work. They're on the trans brake, up on boost, whatever, holding the clutch down, whatever it is, for longer than X, number of milliseconds before the whole thing burns up. I think they're being pretty hyperbolic with that. You're right. A lot of them go out there bracket race. They need to be able to stay on there a little long. Now, I don't. Flip side of that, heads up racing. I don't think you should be sitting there for 5 seconds. Everybody, before they drop the tree.
Right.
But this is a starter's duty when both cars go in. It shouldn't be an instantaneous press unless you know that your system has enough of a delay that it'll randomize between. But you should let people go in there, both people stage, bring the Zars up for just a split second, push the button, and then any delay that happens after that, so that you get enough of that chance, like you're saying, get the R's up, get on boost, build enough heat in the converter, whatever you need to do, but you're not sitting there forever as well.
I think something that would help all tracks, and I haven't yet been to a track that I've seen do this as far as dirt goes. Personally, I think we need to have somebody at the starting line. A starter guy. You never see it. You don't see somebody up there. If there was, and I know, I don't own a track. I'm sure that it's extra people and it's extra money, and I understand all that, but it sure would be nice to have someone up there during eliminations to be there and help get this going. Hey guys, I think it would be a help rather than there's no one up there and everybody goes up. You kind of do what you want, but if there's somebody standing there like they do on blacktop, then you got that starter is the main guy. You got to listen to him. If he tells you to go in, you go in.
Yeah. Now there are some systems and stuff that they don't have a remote start functionality, or it's something that doesn't work as well. I definitely have seen tracks where they try to do that and they have to revert back to somebody in the tower. But to your point, that Dave, it's nice to have somebody there to motion people in to make sure, hey, the tower is ready. I've seen that happen a lot, where they send people up before they've got dial-ins up on the boards or in the computer or whatever. It's good to have somebody there. If your track has the capability to have a starter, probably is better to do it like that. You got somebody up there that can monitor the situation a little bit closer. And if not, you have to do it by the tower. Have somebody that's experienced. Have somebody that you sit them down and, talk to them about the different types of vehicles and get them to understand where that sweet spot is to drop the tree at.
Well, I think that green light that most tracks have now, me and Damian's running, we pull up, we stand, it depends on the track. You might be 20, 30 feet away from the starting line, and you sit there, and then they'll have a green light, that just a single green light that pops up, and the tower's telling you guys you're good. Go on in. Your ET's, your dial-in set or whatever it is that they're doing. The tower's ready. You guys roll on in. And that does help keep from another person at the starting line. But I really think that a lot of the times I'll give you. I'm not picking on four wheelers, but four wheelers are the ones that take the longest. A guy up there at the starting line, if you're really busy, would be a big help. Like, guys, come on, roll in. Let's go. Let's get this things going.
Well, even like in the
should already be
NHRA,
on. Your seatbelt should already be on. Everything should be ready. Not waiting to the last minute to throw your helmet on and all that craziness.
the NHRA, they got that starter right on the line. Me and Kody seen it in person here in Topeka, where they will force you to stage if you're doing a staging duel for too long. And those guys went forever, and they both ended up getting disqualified. And maybe I don't know, maybe it might be hard to do that. Maybe especially if some timing systems are auto start. I know Atoka is. John, do you know if Silverback has an auto start when the eliminations start?
Yes, it's auto start.
Okay, so it's an auto start. So
3 bulbs come on. You've got a limited number of time
it's a
before the tree
7
will drop.
second. Yep.
Hey, maybe we need to go.
That explains why the tree drops so fast.
Maybe we need to go back to that one dude that had that. What the heck was his name? That was going to do the so many seconds to get up there and all that bullshit. Maybe we need to get with that guy. Maybe that'll
shot
work.
clock.
Shot clock. Yes.
Oh,
Bang.
shot clock.
There we go.
Yeah.
Solved, man.
I will say that there is some
For
good
turbo cars
circumstances
only.
for that. For turbo cars, there is some good instances with that. I don't think we necessarily need like double DQs in sand. That generally doesn't happen when we have a staging duel that long. Even per what Damian is saying, like this was probably 20 or 30 seconds, which is it's a staging duel, but they weren't sitting there forever holding up the show. It was more just hesitancy from both competitors not knowing when they want to go in. And if it's got that auto start, that means that as soon as Compton went in there in the VW buggy, you had 7 seconds. And it sounds like McCall kind of used all of that. And both a combination of not bumping it in, like Damian's saying, getting up on boost and bumping it in, and also just run out of time. And that kind of bit him. So,
but
like
yeah,
I said,
at least it's not like the old system I had mentioned earlier, where the moment a stage light got lit, it didn't matter how far back the other guy was going. It was 30 seconds. A lot of people used to
rough.
back in the day. The moment you would get pointed at the guy behind the tree, he would point you guys and point you at the track. There were people that would just fly straight in, both lights on, and the other car hadn't even moved yet.
And that's dangerous, and we definitely shouldn't go that route with it. Give some people some time to be able to get up there. The auto start, I think, is fine. And the one thing with that, if your track is utilizing auto start, if you got a driver's meeting or any sort of information you're going to put out on the event, let people know that, because there have been instances where people didn't know about an auto start and they got DQ'd in an elimination round because they took too long, because they weren't told that there was an auto start system. Had they have known, they would have hurried it up a little bit, right? And I'm looking at, a lot of the bike guys, like you're talking, Dave, they get up there, they got a very long routine. They'll hurry that up as soon as they know that there's 7 seconds after 3 lights go on.
Let me ask you this. Is there a video of this run?
Unfortunately, I do not have it.
We need a video of this run. Is what we need.
That's kind of what I'm wondering. I think that'd be.
So let's do this. If anybody has a video of this run, drop it in the comments of this episode, and we'll react to this after we see the staging duel take place.
I'll do you one better. If you DM it to us on any of our social media platforms, I'll send you a t-shirt.
There you go.
Yeah.
Win a t-shirt.
Also, real quick before I forget, on our World Sand Drag News, the private messenger thing, I did put a thing out there. And John, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but when I found this out, I'm like, man, I've raced John twice and he's beat me twice. So that means the next time I run you, John, if you beat me, we get down to the big end, I'm probably going to roost you. Just because.
Yeah, I see how you roll.
Right, see, Dave already kind of explained, well, he's got that CVT. Sometimes it takes a little for it to engage. So he's already got his excuse.
Right. Be like, oops, sorry, John.
We're talking about the staging battle stuff, but I really do like a good old school staging battle. But certain people get butt hurt on them and go the wrong way with it. You know, like I said, they're fun. They can be fun, but people will get butt hurt. But the biggest thing is you can stop the staging duel at any point by going in. You get the other guy 7 seconds. So never get mad about that. You know, I don't know. How can anybody get mad?
How far can you take a bump button in? You know what I mean? Like you can just build up. Can you build up the boost and then bump in the pre-stage and then bump in the stage? I don't know.
Yes, I've actually heard several people that have. Yes, I've been against people that I've heard bumping up before pre-stage and going in, which actually surprised me.
Well, maybe sometimes you got to use it, especially when you're racing against another turbo car, especially when it's a Volkswagen.
Right.
Oh man.
Well, I think it's great all the way around. I don't like the idea that the thing at the end of the track didn't see it. We don't know, but you know, if that could have got somebody hurt. I mean, honestly, what if the guy, you know, he's done, he's got his helmet off, whatever, and he's just sitting there. Next thing you know, he's got dirt, sand all in his eyes. I mean, anything stupid like that can happen. But
well, like Damian was saying, you're going to ruin his equipment and stuff too. That's much money in parts, especially with the Volkswagen. Those things are like almost dinosaurs.
Well, hey Billy, we had a guy at our track one time, and this is about 10 years ago, and I made a pass against him, and I won. The guy came up beside me in the dragster, and my ex-wife pulled up and, you know, was pulling up behind that and me, and he nailed us both. And I couldn't believe it. I just could not believe what had just happened, and it just annihilated my wife, the Polaris, and everything. I was so mad.
Well, I'm not going to name any names.
Understandably so.
I'm not going to name any names, but we did have a little bit of a mishap at Silverback at my race. And it was handled, but there was a side-by-side that
you double bowled somebody on a mini bike, didn't you?
Yeah, no, it was actually in the pits. And the side-by-side he was working on it, and it was a mistake, and he was testing his two-step, and he let go, and it literally shot rocks and stuff all over the guy that was pitted behind him.
Ooh.
And I didn't see it, but the man came up to me. He was very polite, introduced himself, which I will tell you guys who that is later. And I talked to him about it, and he had talked to Silverback as well. And I talked to the guy that did it, and you know, he's like, Dave, I didn't mean for that. I'm like, it's cool. So that's another thing that we all need to keep in mind too, is when we're in the pits, you know, if you got to check something, make sure that ass end is pointed somewhere different, or jack it up. You know what I mean? You never know. It could, and that's what this man told me. He goes, I can deal with it hitting me. He goes, it hit my wife. He goes, but I was more concerned about what if a child had been walking behind there and didn't know it.
Right.
So it does happen. It does happen, and it is unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Where do you
honest
stop
mistakes? Honest mistakes like those do happen. But when you roof somebody in the return road, that can be prevented for damn sure. So, well, that'll wrap it up for this episode of Paddle Talk. Thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to watch us on YouTube and listen to us on Spotify. Keep updated on our social medias, Instagram, especially Facebook, for anything we got upcoming, especially events that we are covering. So thank you once again for listening to Paddle Talk. Shout out to sponsors for this episode, High Gear Transmission, and as always, racinginthedirt.com.
Hey everyone, this week's podcast sponsored by Racing in the Dirt. Located in Cleveland, Wisconsin, Racing in the Dirt is ready to put their over 30 years worth of off-road experience to work for you. From turnkey builds to rolling chassis to an awesome selection of parts, the Racing in the Dirt staff has got you covered. Brake kits, aluminum hub kits, enclosed chain drives and kits, drive shaft loops, and even DIY wheelie bar kits, all available. So let Scott, Shane, and the crew at Racing in the Dirt get you the competitive edge you need. Give them a call at area code 920-693-2000. That's area code 693-2000. Or find them on Facebook or even racinginthedirt.com. That's racinginthedirt.com. And the UPS Daily. Hey everyone, this Pro Truck Nationals preview brought to you by Joe Tony's High Gear Transmission, located in Conklin, Michigan. At High Gear Transmission, we work to be your one-stop driveline shop. From automatic and manual transmission work to transfer case and differential work, along with engine upgrades and repairs, we can do it all. From daily driver and mild builds all the way up to heavy duty and high performance, High Gear Transmission keeps you moving forward. So give them a shout at 616-887-4327, connect with them on Facebook, or stop by the shop in Conklin. That's 616-887-4327 for Joe Tony's High Gear Transmission.